You think this is Harem of the Dead, you shrimp dick fuck nugget?
Welcome, everyone. I'm your Wolf Commander Wolf 10. I'm your werewolf. We're here today. You can hear the laughter of a certain person, which I'll be introducing pretty soon. But again, we're back again for the first time ever with an experimental idea manga study inspired by Professor Geek and his crew with his book study. So we're going to try this out, guys. We're going to try to talk about a manga study, or at least we're going to do the first 4 chapters of a manga of maybe my choosing, maybe your choosing, maybe all of our others choosing, you know? And today we'll be talking about Claymore. So I have with me, even though you can't see on screen, we got the banner and everything, but we have the Schooner of the Tuna, Schooner Tuna.
Coming at you live from a secret government facility buried deep underground, but has excellent Wi-Fi. This is Schooner Tuna. I'm really excited to talk about this. I regretfully admit that I've maybe only heard about this title in passing a few times. But when the link was sent to me about the manga, holy smokes, did I just go to town on it. We were supposed to read 4 chapters. I'm all the way up to chapter 95. It's that good. Anybody, I recommend it to everybody.
Here with us in spirit is the Bear of the North, Eloise Dotto. And crickets.
Well, it's because,
Right? She's studying.
She's
oh, well.
Studying.
But we also have a guest character with us today. Speaking of, we have today for the first time on Wolf Commander Rambles. He wasn't here for the last time with the jobs talk or the school talk, I think. You can correct me when I introduce you. Dominic
It was the school
Powell.
talk.
Yeah, school talk. Yeah, Dominic Powell is here. So say hello, Dominic.
Good afternoon or evening, everyone. Hope you survived by this experiment involving manga studies, and come join us as we read and discuss Claymore.
He has a partner in crime with him, and I guess he's trying to say, I want to say hi to Dada. Elliott's mentioned that she's having an excursion in the background, so she doesn't want the background noise to overlap us. So thank you, Eloise, for being polite.
Commendable, respectable. Salute!
Well, we originally had Melissa Harris and Sons with us earlier. She's been giving us quite the talk today. Hi guys, sorry for me and Jay missing so many streams. I'm going out to eat with a friend and want to be till later tonight. I will see you guys for the first stream if it happens. Bye guys. My friend Jan has been having a hard time since her husband passed away. Sorry for her loss. Rest his soul. And I have been helping her out. I will check out the video later. Good on you. Are you gonna say Schooner?
I was just saying, respect.
Okay. Jake's been tired from watching the house and house sitting late at night, making sure people don't steal from us in the neighborhood we live in. Oh, that's sad. That's sad. You guys gotta make sure that people don't come run through your house trying to steal stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I feel for you. And she's also she's thinking she's wishing us a good stream today with our manga study. And they're rooting for us. Thank you.
Woohoo!
Yeah, thank you, Melissa.
Thank you, Melissa.
And she is giving us some bad news. Says, before me and Jay go, we got some sad news. Norm MacDonald, aka Death from Family Guy, the genie from Fairly Odd Parents, and Lucky from Dr. Dolittle has passed away. Oh,
yeah,
man.
I know. I just heard the news, man.
No, Norm! Where are we going to get our inappropriate and uncomfortable humor now?
I heard yesterday in the Boondock stream that I was with in Ishii about Ed Eisner too. That's also sad.
No,
Are you
and
kidding?
I.
No! Dang!
You start
Oh,
off strong, Melissa, and you just went and plummet.
oh,
Dang you! Like, but yeah,
oh
I
man.
I heard I heard about Norm's death like just today. And when I read that article from Deadline, like it revealed that he was battling. Well, he was having a private battle with cancer.
Oh God.
That sucks.
Double whammy. Oh, man, I can't do this anymore. I have to leave the stream now. I can't do this.
Soldier on, Schooner. Get a hold of yourself, man.
Oh, it's not fair.
You want some motivation? Here's your motivation.
Boy, if you can't even pull a protractor out of your wiener slot and turn, then you shouldn't even bother trying to be with the king.
Sorry, man, but we can't hear it.
Dear God.
Yeah, we didn't hear it.
It's okay. The only thing that matters is the people who watch it hears it.
I'm just gonna say this right now too. This little banner you got up here is beautiful. I mean,
it's the DVD cover.
That's beautiful. It gives everything, but you don't know it gives everything.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
Straight to the point.
Straight and to the point. Speaking of which, let's talk about Volume 1, shall we?
Well,
Yes.
before we do that, let's give Schooner a bit more of encouragement.
You just gotta go out there and do it. Just loosen up and be tight at the same time.
Jesus Christ. Oh, please don't work with these clips. I'm gonna die.
Hold on, fellas. I'll be right back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh my God.
Schooner.
Yeah.
Take 2 of these and call me in the morning.
You son of a. Oh God! Stop it! Oh. All right. That's it. Okay. All right. I'm back in the saddle now.
So
I'm back on the wagon.
we'll begin with the premise of Claymore. And Schooner, I think you're more equipped to explain this better than anyone else with your eloquence.
Well, my eloquence. Thank you very much. All right, hang on. Let me get my narrator voice on. All right. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
All right.
Schooner's about to explain the premise, so shut up and listen. Kidding.
Set in a fantasy world where humanity is under constant threat from the monsters known as Yoma. The Yoma are superior in strength, size, and pass themselves off as regular people. Only one thing protecting them are the Claymores, warriors of a mysterious organization that hunt down and defeat these beasts. Yet there's more to these Claymores than meets the eye. And that right there is the basic premise. Now, for a more
somebody else in that instance, dude.
I know it was beautiful, wasn't it?
I was like, wait a minute, is Final Fantasy in the chat now?
Yeah, that's my narrator voice.
Nice.
But yeah, for a more in-depth, that's what we're getting into right now. I couldn't put it down. The minute I got the link to this manga, I was like, holy smoke, I'm head over heels. I'm going out and I'm buying them now. I want to own this.
Right.
I love this series. But more in depth, I love it because the way chapter 1 opens up, I mean, they throw you right into it instantly. We see a monster and a silver-eyed warrior doing battle. Well, not much of a battle because she just one-hit KOs him. And right then and there, we're hit with murder.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now we got an entire town that is basically under that's being terrorized by a mysterious foe. Something is killing off various citizens of this town. They're so confused and they're convinced that it has to be a Yoma. And the village elders say there's only one thing we can do. We have to call in a claymore. And all at once, everybody goes silent.
Yep.
Yeah,
because
essentially, the claymores are the witchers in this setting.
Are kind of like witchers in this setting, pretty much. You learn that claymores are actually hybrids of humans and yomas. And that's why a lot of people are kind of terrified of them. But at the same time, they understand why they're necessary. Because yomas can not only disguise themselves, but they're faster, stronger, better, cooler, bum 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 bum.
Not to mention sexy.
Dangerously sexy. What was it? We focus on one of our audience insert character, Rocky, which is pretty awesome. It's also
Hanging with his brother.
And they're talking about claymores, and Rocky is actually more curious than he is terrified, which I love. It's because that's basically what the audience ourselves is. It's like, all right, what's a claymore? All right, why are you guys so scared? All right, what's going on here?
He has a high naivete about the world.
Yep. He has a high naivete about the world. And I also have to remark, too, he has a distinct feature, which I love, is that he has a scar right above his eye. So right there. So right now you have a distinct feature about him, is that he's a little naive, and his naivete's clearly gotten him in trouble more than once. Anyway, so we have his brother. They're talking about how his brother basically gives us a what is it called? Exposition dump. He says they take the flesh and blood of the Yoma into their own bodies, making themselves half human, half monster, and they're strong enough to fight the creatures. And of course, Rocky is like going, holy smoke. And they say, what's more, after a lot of testing, they found that only females adapt successfully. They say every male who has tried has died a horrible death. Okay, so you're already like, okay, so that's information stored away for the future, because they do talk about this in the future, but we're not going to get to that on this stream yet.
Hey, Samuel.
Hey, Samuel Ioluki. And so, and so everybody's all like, suddenly everybody's like, oh, the Claymore has stopped into town and all this kind of stuff. And right then and there, we're introduced to our secondary protagonist. Well, what do you call it?
Deuteragonist.
Yeah, thank you. Deuteragonist, thank you. Words were dying in my mouth. Claire. And she's a bit of already right when you see her, Rocky's like going, everybody's like, oh, scary, terrified. Rocky himself is like going, whoa, hot. I love that. That's an anime trope I've always loved. Everybody's like, oh, there she is, terrified. Oh, I'm so scared. But our other protagonist is like, whoa, hot. Anyway, Claire comes in. She's very like, everybody's moving away from her, all scared. She's like all cold, like passing by him. It's like, this is not even, nothing to me. Goes to the town elder. He drops. Yeah. Goes to the town elder. He's dropping the pile of money. She says, no, I'll take the money when the job is done, but you're going to give it to an associate of mine because I don't take money. And basically says to the guy right out, and if I die, there's no reason to pay me. And he's like going, say what now? What? And he's like going, wait a minute, you're a Claymore. I mean, you've fought these things before. You can beat the monster, right? She just answers plainly, well, that depends. If the monster has suppressed its aura, I won't be able to detect it. I can sniff out these monsters, but, they've been adapting over time. Claymore, it's becoming harder for Claymores to track them down. So I always thought that was actually pretty cool. So
that's
it's
good
clear.
Reason.
That's great reasoning, but it also shows that these monsters are more than just mindless creatures. They can think, they can plan, they can cooperate, and that's terrifying. And that's actually adds some more terror here. Like, you're like, holy crap, that's terrifying.
Exactly.
These monsters are not just, these are Yeah, they're mindless. They're not mindless beasts. They can plan.
Which
So,
we'll get into real quick. What happens afterwards, especially after Rocky meets her face to face when
no,
he
yeah.
when he uh when he tries to communicate with her. He asks her he first asks her name, and she says it doesn't matter. You're gonna forget it anyways.
Which I also got to say is hilarious because she's standing in the town, looking around. Everybody's already saying, like the village elder is like going, "My God, just looking at that person, it felt like I was talking to a monster. There's no emotion. There's nothing there." And she's walking through the town, and I love it because her eyes immediately go like battle mode, pulls out a sword, one direction, and there's Rocky just standing there.
Hmm.
And he goes, "What was that for? Was I doing something wrong? I was just following you." Puts her sword away, turns around on her heel, and just walks off.
Yep.
Love it. Classic protagonist move. And like you said, she just goes,
And this also,
"You're just good."
and this also comes, well, this also comes as a surprise to Claire because whenever she travels to a city, like the people like keep the distance from her, but it's the first time she ever seen and experienced someone who wants to like get to know her and approach her.
Exactly. And I'm just discussing I'm also looking at the art right here. It's really amazing too, because if you look at her face when she's putting her sword away, she's looking at him like weirdo. And he goes, "Hey, you're a Claymore, aren't you?" And she goes, "No, our organization has no name. Your people thrusted that name upon us." Which is okay. So now here we're getting some more context here. He says, "Still, you look like an ordinary girl. I guess I thought
And
you'd
world
be
building.
Yep, and some world building. I like that too. Goes, "You look like an ordinary girl. I guess I thought you'd be big and scary." She looks right at him and then goes, "You're not afraid of me?" "Not at all. You're just like an ordinary girl." "Actually, you're not so ordinary. You're prettier than the girls around here." And she just keeps. And I'm just like, oh my God, typical shonen protagonist right here.
If you can call it that.
If you can call it that. It's the typical trope. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it because right when I first read that, I'm just like, oh, you doofus.
He's just basically just making
Mm-hmm.
he's making light conversation, mind you, but like
Mm-hmm.
it's like we all think that this is a one-way ticket of getting punched in the face by the tsundere, which
Yeah.
Claire is really not a tsundere.
No, she's not at all. In
Oh,
fact, what I think is interesting is that she looks very uncomfortable by this conversation. This conversation, this casual stuff, this is foreign to her. It's like,
it's the early stages of her character development.
mm-hmm.
She starts up
Mm-hmm.
over time, which we're going to get into in the first 4 chapters. She starts to open up a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And
Actually, he opens up at the end of this chapter, which I love.
Exactly. So like,
Yep.
go ahead.
Same here.
So he's still following her around the village, and he's kind of telling her, yeah, there's, this leads out of the village and beyond the mines and all that kind of stuff. And Claire just says, okay, so this is the border of the village. And she just plops down. And what I love is that her sword does not leave her back again. Instead, the sword just plops down with her when she sits.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like perfectly angled, which means the sword is basically her lifeline.
Yeah, or rather, that's how a soldier puts down their rifle
Mm-hmm.
when they rest,
Mm-hmm.
which is face up, barrel up.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep. And it's funny because Rocky's like going, what are you doing? Resting? I've been walking for 3 days. And Rocky's like, oh, okay. Takes a stick, throws it into the ground, and he leans on it like she does.
yep.
And she's like, why are you so interested in me? Well, you are a Claymore, like I said. You picked that name. And she goes, you picked that name, not me. And he goes, yeah, you're right. You came all the way here to kill the Roma, right? Well, and this is some great character development right here, why Rocky is so interested in her and why he's following her around town, because he reveals that the first people to be killed by the Yoma in his town were his parents.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why he's so enamored with her and is kind of following her around. it's basically you're the one that's going to avenge my parents. You're the
Yep.
one you're the hero that I've been looking for. And,
I think she makes a point about revenge too.
mm-hmm. She's looking right into his eyes when he says that, and he says, and Rocky tells her, I was there and I couldn't do anything about it, and I wish if I was strong enough, I would have avenged my parents, but I can't, so that's why you're here. And she looks right at him and says, look, and I love her response. It's cold, direct, and to the point. I'm only doing this because we got a request. I'm not doing it so you can get revenge. And he says, I know, but is it wrong that I think that that's just as good? Because at the end of the day, the monster is just going to be a job for her, but for him, it's really how we're setting up point of view. She's like, this here is a job for me, but for someone like Rocky, the people that she is protecting, you're going to. This monster changed my life forever and destroyed it. But if you destroy the monster, I can get something back, a semblance of a normal life.
Mm-hmm. Let's fast forward to later that
the
night.
big twist. He asks
later that evening.
Yeah. He says, okay, but this is also an important moment. He says, what's your name? And he says, my name is Rocky. And she just says, like you were saying earlier, Wolf, you don't need to know my name. You'll forget soon enough. And Rocky is basically saying, all right, well, good luck. And he goes home to his uncle and comes right home. And the twist. His uncle's dead. And it turns out his brother is the Yoma.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
and
man.
we also like learn more
push
facts
pause real quick.
about the Yoma.
Push pause. There's something I want to point out. Definitely. Something that we didn't mention earlier in the start of the story. The story changes perspectives real quickly in the matter of one page, or at least two pages actually. The perspective shown is through Rocky's brother Zaki, and that's where we right within that meeting. That's where the village chief has already informed them that a Claymore is coming. Zaki's facial expressions shifts so many times within these panels. For the majority of us seeing Zaki, there's concern in his face. There's even sweat on his crown.
There's a look
even
of genuine.
when
There's a look of
when
genuine.
Rocky is
a look of genuine surprise.
Yeah, even when Rocky is talking about the Claymores, like Zaki is being forthcoming with the information. Make no mistake about that. But like you can tell there's something off about Zaki. But that's
And
only
you could easily. And what's funny is that you could easily think that it's because the Claymore is coming to town and he's terrified of the Claymore. Well, then you find an extra layer here. No, he is the Yoma, and he knows that a Claymore is coming, and he's not ready for it.
Oh, he is, but the thing is the bottom line is that she's coming to kill him. And he's been doing really well to play it cool for some time, and especially when he explains to Rocky that I've been trying my best not to devour you. The main times you kept being so near your brother. And here's another thing. Zaki did not turn into a Yoma. The Yoma killed his brother that night. He killed his parents. And took over
his body and mind.
Yep. And as a scene where the Yoma is like really like monologuing, villain monologue. Hey dog. I guess he don't like the Yoma either. Good. You shouldn't. Anyways, there's tears rolling out of his eyes, and he mentions that your brother's tears are rolling out of my eyes. Your brother is crying.
It seems I got it right here. It says, tears? It seems what's left of your brother is shedding tears. Sweet, isn't it?
That's another thing. The sadism and
Yeah.
the sadism dialogue, as I like to call it, and especially my personal history of watching the series, like you'll get moments where these creatures are talking like straight up sociopaths, like they're speaking so casually about what they're doing or what they're going to do, especially a specific character that Claire runs into later on, which
Yeah.
Dominic hasn't gotten that far, so we're trying to play it safe while we're speaking
But
on
I get, yeah,
potential spoilers.
I get what you're saying though. The way they say it so casually, as if like they're ordering a glass of water or something. That's evil.
Yeah,
That's how you show villain. That's how
you
you
could
show villain.
you could pretty much Photoshop Bison's head on his body,
Oh
and
yeah.
you could still like anybody will see it. They'll still hear that quote. But for me, it was Tuesday.
Exactly.
Dominic, if you want to chime in, go ahead. Is he still here? Oh, he's muted. Oh, he's trying to calm his dog down. So
I think though, but a thing too is what I love is that Rocky is clearly terrified and horrified by what's happening. And when after the creature says, you know, your brother's crying and he's shedding tears, isn't it sweet? Rocky doesn't look scared anymore. He looks pissed, and he tries to punch it, but of course, what does it do? It just smacks him away effortlessly.
yeah, he attempts to defend himself, which is good on his part. Like say what you will on the attempt. You know what I'm saying? At least he's not standing there. Like I rather be happy that he took arms and tried to attack rather than him not doing anything at all. And granted, like we can't always expect everybody to react the same way as we would like to think. Like just step in and attack. Some people are frozen with fear, but I always give credit to those who dare to die on their feet rather than on their knees. Like even if it's an instinctual impulse, even if it's going to just get them kills, like you know, go out swinging.
And that's the thing too, is that just by lightly smacking him away, you see how powerful the Yoma is, because Rocky is down on the ground and he is just gasping. For the Yoma, that was nothing.
Almost like he was pulling his punch. I think in the anime he did mention that his brother was holding him back.
And
because otherwise he would have killed him in one blow.
Oh yeah. Another thing that I love too is that we get another exposition dump. He's like going, "Fool, did you think a mere human could stand against a Yoma? We have lived among you since ancient times. You exist only as our food.
Red flag.
We are the foremost predators alive, and you are our prey. Prey
Dude, it's not our fault you suck."
And he's like, prey is no position to fight back against a predator. And in true, just true heroic fashion, crash, here comes Claire. I love it. I love it.
Oh, we don't know her name yet. For any fresh reader,
we still don't know the name. We just know that the Claymore has come in. You just know the Claymore has come in. And it's hilarious because... And that's what kills me is that it goes, "Oh my gosh, you're here! You've saved the day!" And it's like and then he finds, and then the Yoma's like going, "You? How the hell did you find me?" Well, the boy carried the scent of a Yoma, and all I had to do was follow him home.
Pretty much use them as bait, or at least pretty much.
No, it turns out the Yoma was the one who had the oversight here, because the Yoma lived among him for so long that the Claymores can actually sniff him out.
Yeah. There you go.
And all she had to do was just follow him home. And he says,
follow my nose.
Wherever it goes. And she's just, and it's so cool because we see the Claymore doing battle with the Yoma, and we see that the Yoma is kind of really it's some good fight, but it's really clear that for the Claymore, this is just a sparring match. This is just,
She shows how incredibly fast she can be as well.
And that's really what she is.
Yeah, go ahead.
She doesn't, I'm sorry, that's one of the traits that she does, you're right. When she's engaging the opponent, she's not so much sparring, she's assessing their strength. to see, all right, let's see, is this the full extent of your power or are you holding back? And Claire's just like, yeah, okay, you're just, all right, this is clearly all that you got. And she cuts off his arm. Like going, yeah, this is clearly this is really all that you are. Arm cut off. And he's like, what? No, how can you move faster than a mere Yoma? It's not possible. And then, boom, hostage situation. She takes Rocky hostage and saying, I'm going to use you as a shield. You're going to have to cut through me too. And she just cuts off the other arm. It's like, nope.
Yep. Just to showcase how fast Claire really is.
Yep. He zooms off, comes right around Rocky, and he's about to throw his arm over him and basically say, you're going to be my human shield. Nope. She's already there by his side, cutting off the Yoma's other arm. This is not going to be one of those tropes.
Yeah, it reminds me of Hellsing with Alucard and Ceres when Ceres was used as a hostage situation by a vampire, the vampire priest.
Yeah.
And of course, instead of like Alucard where he's just pretty much playing with his food before he eats it, like Claire is just all business.
Yeah.
And she didn't even need to go through Rocky to, not saying she's a better fighter than Alucard.
No.
Like Alucard's a practical man. Like of course he's going to have to shoot through Ceres to get the vampire, but he gives her consent first.
Yeah, and it also shows how different he is from the atypical hero. He's like going, "Oh, I'm sorry, you seem to think that I'm here to protect life. No, I'm here to kill you. I'm here to kill you, and I don't care who I have to go through in order to do it." But for Ceres, he makes an exception. Although it's not much of an exception because in Hellsing he just says, "Girl, are you a virgin?" and she says, "Yes." Shoots right through her, and he says, "Alrighty then. Well, since you're a virgin and I shot through you, you're probably going to die, but I can turn you into a vampire." So that's not so much a choice. So he does give her a quote unquote a choice.
That's the manga version.
That's the manga version. Whereas in this one, Claire, it does show that Claire is about protecting the people of the village.
As per ordered. Because that's what as later on in the series you discover, that's what her order is supposed to be. The organization is meant to protect. Mm-hmm.
And I love it. Kills the monster. And I love it because just before killing him, she gives him this very, sadistic grin on her face.
Yep.
To put the fear in the monster. I love it.
And to top it all off, she wipes the sword of his blood by swinging it, much like a samurai. That stereotypical samurai swing to clean off your sword.
Yep. And
in cool fashion, yes.
In such great fashion. She wipes it down, sheaths it, looks back at Rocky, makes sure he's safe, and then she just walks off. And what does Rocky do? Well, after everything that's just been happening to him, he just sits in a fetal position and starts crying.
Yep. Because he lost his brother.
And his uncle, and just watched the Yoma, who is possessing his brother, utterly be obliterated before his eyes.
Which I need to bring up. The weakness of the Yoma is that the Claymores, and the reason why their swords are designed that way is to basically give enough of a good cut to cut them into pieces. That's the only way you can be able to do that. Is basically you got to go the Dead Space route.
Basically, mass dismemberment
with impunity.
Yep. And the next bit of the chapter is just heartbreaking because everybody's talking about how
what to do with Rocky.
Rocky's brother was the Yoma, and now what Rocky is going to do, what happened to the Claymore, everything. And everybody's basically telling him, Rocky, you got to forget about it now. You have to forget. And this triggers a memory when Claire says, you'll forget me soon enough. And what does Rocky do? That's what makes him move. That's what makes him run. Because he hasn't been, they say he's been immobilized since the event has occurred.
Right.
And then right when they tell Rocky, Rocky, you just got to forget about all this and you got to forget about it. And he goes, go
in
ahead.
the anime, he left because the village couldn't really do anything for him. He had no home, he had no family. People were also suspecting whether or not he could be a Yoma, since his brother was a Yoma as well. So he decided to leave. Like he didn't even announce that he was leaving. He just up and left.
We actually do get that in, I believe, volume 3. We do
Yeah.
get that in volume 3. But I love the ending of this too, because he goes running out there and he finally catches up to the Claymore and he's like going, hey, wait, I'm sorry, but you were right and I was afraid. Just like when my parents were killed, I've been afraid for so long, but I pretend I'm not. And I've been ashamed for so long, but I pretend I'm not. So that's why I'll never forget. You killed the monster that killed my family, and I will never forget you. And I am truly grateful. Thank you. I mean it. And she looks back at him and then keeps walking. And then he just says, please tell me your name, please. I beg you. And she doesn't even look back. She just goes, very, very true heroic fashion, by the way. That's like, I always love that. Character going off into the unknown, but does call back. My name is Claire. My name is Claire. Yep. My name is Guts. Wrong franchise.
Right. Next chapter will be an interesting chapter, to say the least, because it showcases more of Claire's ingenuity in how she handles her business, and it also shows a bit of the inner workings through one character introduction, the inner workings of the organization, which is there's a scene where she had already slain another Yoma, which was masquerading as a chief.
I love that scene too. He's like handing her the money. He says, "Great job, Claymore. You did an excellent job getting rid of the Yoma slash."
Yep.
And there goes part of his head, and everybody's like, "What the hell did you do?" And then, of course, the village chief just goes, if you had only come a little closer, I would have killed you." Fell down, and he falls down dead. It's like going, "You crafty little one."
Yep. Just congratulate her before he dies. And good night, Simon.
That's the thing that I. Oh wait, hang on. What'd you say?
I was bidding Simon Lee a good night, and he said he's gonna check out the series later, which he should.
Yeah, but he should. But I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, continue.
No, it's like the Yoma is not upset that he died. He's just basically going, "Dang, you know what? Dang it, that was awesome.
Sweet move, kid."
Yeah, sweet move.
Which also shows how crafty they can
magic.
Be. Yeah, I'm saying it really shows how, and also it introduces trying to remember his name, Rubel.
Yes.
Which is a Claymore is assigned to a handler, and that handler is the one that collects the money, which she kept mentioning earlier in the first chapter. So Rubel is mostly depicted as in the manga visually as a guy with a black long coat and pants and I'm hesitant to say fedora, but he does have a hat on. He has a hat and shades. And he's always.
He almost
grinning.
looks like. Do you know what he looks like? He almost looks like It looks like almost he's wearing priest robes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they every handler looks like they're dressed as a priest or at least a padre. I don't know the difference. Sorry guys. I'm ignorant of religion, of Catholicism.
And I'm also gonna say this too. We get a beautiful little eye candy shot of Claire underneath a waterfall,
ready to wash off the blood,
ready to wash all the blood off of herself. And Rubel is just sitting there, watching. He's like, washing off all the blood, Claire. It's useless. No matter how much you wash, your own body produces that smell. And she's just nonchalantly like, Like, I love her eyes when she realizes he's there. She's trying to act all cool, but she's clearly embarrassed that he's there. But then she just turns right around and just puts the armor back on, like, no problem. It's very clear
Exactly.
that it's very clear what their relationship is, purely professional, but at the same time, Rubel is very intrusive. Which later on in the series, you realize is more true than you could ever imagine.
And it was awkward for everyone.
Exactly. Rubel, just as the series progresses, Rubel does not care. It's like, Rubel, sense of privacy here, and Rubel's like, no.
Hmm. If I had to do a live action Claymore, he would be played by Littlefinger at least.
Oh yeah.
Like a perfect casting for Rubel have to be the actor who plays Littlefinger.
Mm-hmm.
And
Because that's exactly. And the actor playing him would do such a perfect job.
my actress who would play Claire would be a toss up of Imogen Poots or Florence Pugh. Even though look, say what you will about her performance in Black Widow, she will still be my go-to actress for any kind of character I would like for her to play if I had to do a live action whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Florence Pugh would be my top choice. Imogen Poots would have been my second choice, but only because I would go with Florence Pugh.
Mm-hmm.
Now, stature-wise, will be awkward for everybody because Claire is meant to be at least taller than she appears.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Well, as if we can say later, but I don't know if
Dominic is that far.
Yeah. I don't know if Dominic's that far, so I can't say anything.
Yeah, certain Claymore tend to tower over her. She's like Go ahead.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, certain Claymores are. They share the one thing that I love about the Claymores is that they all are the same. They do have the same traits and qualities. They have silver eyes and white hair, and they carry a sword and have armor. But then, as the series progresses, you learn that certain Claymores each share a gift, but they also have talents that are unique to themselves.
And their size varies too.
Mm-hmm. And their size does vary.
I will say this: one size that don't stand out aside from a certain Claymore that shows up later on, or at least via flashback or backstory. You hardly ever find any Claymore that are at least like 4 foot.
Mm-hmm.
That you like unless they took them like a child, but like at that point, what I'm saying is I defy you to find at least one Claymore that is at least 4 foot. Most of them are at least like around five or 6, between 5 and 6 at least, or at least if there is a 4 foot one, at least like 4'5" or 4'3". That's too short. I think that's a little bit too short. I'm getting my numbers wrong. I'm gonna stick to 5. At least like 5 foot. At least 5 foot to 6 foot between those brackets. But bottom line is, you'll be hard pressed to find a Claymore that's at least 4 foot.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from one Claymore,
but
that's
much later down the line.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the only thing that'll be hindering the accuracy of Claire adaptation wise would be the height. And like I said, Florence Pugh, on the other hand, we can take liberties with her because she's a short woman, or at least.
Well, that's another thing too.
It's not to look too short.
You can always do camera manipulation for that.
That too. Yeah, but like I said, I tend to try to steer clear of that.
Steer clear of camera tricks?
Yeah. Sometimes, like, if it's necessary, I would do it. But other than that, like, when it comes to trying to make the actors look big, I'm like, I'm not doing that.
And that's another thing, a bit of world building that I love, too, is that when when Rubel shows up, it's that he's the one who gets the money. She just goes and does the job. And that's what I love when he shows up. She's like, Rubel, did you get the money? And he just shakes it. So it's very clear that he's got a bit of a personality to him.
Mhm.
He's just shaking it. He's a bit condescending and intrusive. In this one scene alone, you can already tell their relationship is purely professional. She does not like him. He knows that she does not like him, but he likes to antagonize her.
She also knows she don't have to like him either, and he knows he don't have to like her. So it's basically workman relationship, professional at all times.
And I love it too. She's like going, you got new orders. There's another job, and there's a village in the west. And she goes, all right, what are the orders? Same as always, find and kill the monster.
But here's a catch. There is a catch.
There's just, yep. Go ahead.
Multiple people have died so far. By his count, it was 27 people who died in the village.
Yep.
And she found that suspicious. And he brings up the speculation that it could be more than just one Yoma.
Yeah. And he goes, the others will be here in 5 days. You can wait until then. And he's like going, and she immediately goes, well, how many people will die in the meantime? Well, if I'm crunching the numbers, maybe 2 or 3, but no big loss. And she's already like armoring up. I'm going. He goes, what? You're leaving already? I don't like waiting, Rubel. I'd rather finish the job quickly. All right. And he's like, all right, go ahead and hunt the Yoma. What you do with your life is up to you. So already right there, that's saying a lot. She's telling us already about Claire's character. She hunts because she wants to protect.
Exactly.
Okay? She is a protector, despite the fact of everything that's going on.
That, and besides, there's also an ulterior motive as to why she became a Claymore, which again we're not going to get into that because again it's the first 4 chapters.
It ties into why she's doing what she's doing.
And definitely this is for anybody who's here. We're only going for the first 4 chapters. If our talking is not enough to get you in, well, sorry for that. I mean, we tried. But
No. This is motivation. Okay, then next time we talk about this, try harder. I'm going to try harder.
Yeah, exactly, that too. But I mean,
because
I'm not out to change people's minds, but I am out to encourage anybody else by the next manga week we cover later on in WCR.
But I love it too because I didn't expect to fall in love with this as much as I did, but this is like, yes, this is everything I'm looking for in entertainment, okay? This is relatable characters, this is compelling storytelling, and it's so subtle. I love it. It's so subtle.
Still leaves a bit of mystery too, an air of mystery. You still want to know more about this world.
Exactly.
Let's fast forward to where she gets to the village.
Yep. And almost right then and there, right when she enters the village, there's the Yoma. And she's like going, you're the Yoma? Yeah, you got that right. I never dreamed you'd come alone. I was hoping there would be more of you. And she's like looking at him like, you're out in the open. The villagers are going to see your true form. And he's like, forget about it. And then suddenly, boom, 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 3 more show up surrounding her. And it's like, oh, crap. It's a trap. It's a trap. What is she going to do? What is she going to do? And she's getting into a fight. They're already like swarming her, all that jazz. And what is she doing? I'm not scared. Boom. And she's like, boom, 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 boom.
You forgot to mention the flying Yoma.
Oh, yeah. No. I'm not forgetting that. Oh,
you're building up to it. Okay.
Oh, I'm building up to it. I was building up to that.
Continue on then.
Yep. She's like, I'm totally taking all of you down. And the one flying Yoma comes in and she overpowers it. What does the one flying Yoma do when he realizes, oh crap, I'm outmatched? He abandons his friends.
Exactly.
And the leader's like going, wait, where you going? Don't leave. And Claire takes the opportunity during that distraction to kill the leader. And he's flying off. You're thinking, well, looks like he's going to get away. But what does Claire do? She turns on that scary face that she had in the first chapter, winds up the arm. I love this part. It's great. Standing there, you see those veins popping, and she just tosses the sword right into the air. Boom! Beautiful shot. I mean, if she was in the Olympics, she would already have gone the distance.
Yeah, exactly.
Hits it right square in the back, and it lands a few inches from her, and she just pulls the sword out of its back and sheaths it. And she just shouts. And then what I love about this is that she looks around because the town was isolated during this whole fight. She looks around and she sees that people are looking outside of their windows and people are peeking around corners, and she just yells out loud, "My work here is done. Someone will be sent to collect the money. You will give it to them." And just walks out of the town, and there is little Rubel. And he's going, "Ah, so you survived. She goes, "Job's done. Go collect the money. You fought all 5 of them? How noble of you to risk your life for these ungrateful villagers and fight alone against a pack of Yoma. Was it because when you remember your old self, you feel drawn to help?" And she just shoots daggers at him when he says that.
I bet your mom wishes she had swallowed you.
Oh, I bet you that's what she's saying. I bet you that's what she said in her head. And she goes, "Like I said, I'd rather finish the jobs quickly. That's all." See, chapter 2 and chapter 1 are some of the best because this gives so much about these characters and how the organization works and the Yoma. I mean, first off, you see that the Yoma can disguise themselves, but in chapter 2, you realize they can also plan and coordinate. But
Exactly.
the Yoma, but it's clear that the Claymores aren't powerful just because they got the power of the Yoma in them. No, you see that they're only as good as their skills. And Claire, there's more to her than meets the eye.
As we go further, well, if we do revisit Claymore, which I'm pretty sure we probably will.
We are going to revisit this.
You sound so sure. Yeah,
We better revisit this.
Yeah. So if we ever revisit this this manga, we'll definitely cover that definitely in depth, because there is something special about Claire, to say the least. But we're not going to get completely into that as we will later on when we do revisit this this manga. But yeah, there's something special about Claire. It's not really. It's like you kind of see the build up with her abilities over time. That there's something special, completely special about her. But for now, you're getting the basis of her character and the basis of how she operates her job.
Mm-hmm. And there's a subtle personality here. She may act like she's cold-hearted, disinterested, guarded, but there are subtle little chinks in her armor where her personality comes out.
Yeah, this is far from Black Swordsman Guts.
Mm-hmm.
You can kind of make the correlation between her and Guts all you want, but like Black Swordsman Guts was like
they're as different as night and day.
See, Black Swordsman Guts will care when the moment suits it, especially when it comes to children.
Yeah.
But like when it comes to everything else, he just don't give a damn.
No, he doesn't. He just does not. No, he's very cold-hearted. He doesn't. Yeah, I'm using that word too many times. Cold-hearted. He just is so disinterested until he is interested. Whereas with
indifferent.
Yeah, indifferent. That's what I was looking for. He's indifferent. But what I like about Claire is that she acts indifferent, but it's clear that she cares a lot.
That and it's again part of her job. She's trained to care about, well, whether she cares about the humans or not. It's an occupational hazard for, well, not necessarily. It's an occupation for her, to say the least. Like she's trained to protect humans no matter what. It's like the 3 laws of robotics with the Claymore.
Yeah, which you'll find out later on. But she is supposed to protect. She's there to protect people, as per she's been ordered by the organization. You have to protect the people, but it's clear that she's not just protecting people because it's her job. She wants to protect.
Whereas the organization, even though that they train the Claymore to protect the humans, you even see a bit of an indifference too, like the way how Rubel talks about the dead humans, or at least the future dead humans, if Claire doesn't show up early to that village to handle the job.
Well, it's also what I find interesting is that Rebel, and this is what you learn also about the organization, is that if there is a situation the organization deems too dangerous for a single Claymore, they usually send 1 or 2 Claymores to go and deal with it. However, and for somebody like Claire, they said, okay, so there's more than 1 Yoma there. We're going to need to send we're going to send some Claymores with her. Wait around, and he tells her, wait around for a few days. The Claymores will show up, and you guys will go to the town and get rid of them. And Claire's like, how many people are going to die? A few, but, it's going to be fine. Not everybody in the village is going to die, just a few of them. And Claire's like, no, I can't. I can't take that sitting down.
Exactly.
I think what's also funny, what's kind of funny is that it's a visual metaphor, at least for me, is that Claire is, forgive the pun, laying herself bare.
Neostar is here. The brilliant star. The brilliant star that shines through the night. The steel Claymore that cleaves crime in twain. Riser Man stands before you. Sorry, dude, I'm not in the mood to sing.
Riser Man, here he comes, he's the Riser Man, ha, hoo, he, ha, hosha, venda, da, he's the Riser Man.
Nice. So you ready to move on to chapter 3?
Yes, this is the big one, the one we've all been waiting for. This is where we finally get some backstory on our protagonist, that is Claire. Some beautiful backstory here, mind you. But first, let's open up with a quick shot of the desert. We see a lone traveler just walking around. You're thinking, all right, walking around in the desert, clearly man with clearly, well, maybe not a man, clearly someone with a purpose, and then they fall over. Well, that ended really quickly, and that's the end of Claymore. No, I'm just kidding. There's a silhouette of a Claymore, clearly Claire, in the background. And what do? We see Rocky. Yay! He's back. Exactly. He's waking up. He's back. He's waking up. He's in a town. He's okay. But it's also very clear Claire is on the mind. Why? Because the first thing he's thinking of when he wakes up is what Claire said. You're not scared of me? So it's very clear he's got a little bit of. So it's very clear he's got a little Claire on his mind.
Nice one.
Thank you. I'm here all week.
Exactly.
All right. So he's waking up, and this guy's like saying, "Oh, you're awake." Hey. Oh yeah. Hang
on. Before we continue, Dominic, are you still with us? You've been muted for far too long, buddy. Crickets.
I miss him. He's gone.
I hope the dog didn't eat him.
No, I'm still here.
We've been going for 55 minutes. You've been missing.
So real quick to take care of the dog. Also, I was having lunch.
Oh wow.
I was having lunch after taking care of the dogs.
Hey, why didn't you invite me? I'm not the only. I'm hungry. So do you have any cool little fun facts you want to share about the first 2 volumes that we covered of Claymore?
Chapters, not volume.
Okay, chapters.
Yeah, well, I would say, if any of you guys haven't mentioned previously, but what for the first 2 chapters, it clearly establishes what the setting what the setting of Claymore is like. Is like because similar to Berserk, it takes place in a world that is similar to medieval Europe, and in fact, and also and just to, only on the first page of chapter one, when it quickly establishes like
Guess you could say the harsh environment.
the murder mystery of the serial killer, which in this case is a practice, and which it covers on ways how to making the reader to turn over to the next page after page one. So in this case, the murder of one of the villagers. It helps to set up like what you're going to get yourself into when you're reading Claymore.
So right off the bat, you already know, all right, this isn't going to be kosher. This is going to be dark. This is going to be violent and grim.
It plays onto similar beats from Berserk. Like you can tell right away, even though like there are parallels between it and Berserk, Claymore is clearly its own thing.
Yeah, you can tell the inspirations are there. The inspiration from Berserk is clearly visible, but it's also clear that this also wants to be its own thing.
Yeah, and Araki like mentioned in chapter one of the book is that even while it is nice like paying homages to your inspirations as you're looking into like what worked for each different authors or any type of creatives that you made your influences. Make sure that you don't directly copy what the creative influences have done.
Yeah. You can pay homage, but don't just outright rip off.
Exactly.
Anything else you want to say?
So shall we move on
anything
to
else?
chapter 3?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sir. So we'll move on to so is there anything else you want to say about the other two chapters or no? No? Yes?
He's muted again.
He's muted again.
No, I'm still here. I'm still here. So like with page 1 of chapter 3, we're opening up to a desert scene.
We're opening up to a desert scene. It's all nice. It's very quaint. We see a weary little traveler, and he falls over dead. But we see a silhouette of clearly who's supposed to be Claire in the background. And of course, when he wakes back up, it's Rocky. He's come back.
Mm-hmm.
The story
and back with civilization.
Back with civilization, but it's very clear that he's got some Claire on his mind. So
all the time.
All the time. So this guy comes
all the time. Can't get you off my mind.
Yep, I love it. I don't care what anybody says. It's like, oh, it's a typical cliche trope, and it's like, I don't care. I like it. Plus, I think he's a pretty okay character. I actually think, if anything, after what happened to him in the first chapter, I'm endeared to him. I'm endeared to him. It's like, I want this guy, no matter what he decides to do with his life, I want him to succeed.
Right.
So he wakes up, there's a kind little villager there, and he's basically telling him, hey, welcome here. You were in the desert. Somebody came and found you and put you in here. Oh, yeah, who? The Silver-Eyed Witch. And he's like, Silver Eyes? Claire? Hello. Where are we? Where is she? Where did she go? And he's like, she went out that way towards the village. Oh, my gosh, I can't believe this. We get some other exposition dump, too, as he's running away. As he's running to go and find Claire, he runs, of course, out of the village. And he comes upon the Claymore. He calls her Claire. but it's not Claire. It is, in fact, another Claymore. Or is it?
Right.
Because the Claymores
Or
get
at
all...
least we thought it was another Claymore.
At least we thought it was another Claymore. Because what happens in the scene is this Claymore is being surprisingly very friendly. And getting a little too up close and personal, if you know what I mean. And she introduces herself to him, gives her... introduces herself as a Claymore, and Rocky, displaying his intelligence, his common sense, which is shocking for most people, but yes, some people do have them, shoves her back and says, "You're not a Claymore. They don't call themselves by that name." And the girl just goes, "Oh, really? Well then, I will just have to remember that next time." And transforms right then and there into a Yoma. And that's just like, ah, crap. Well, Rocky, you really stepped in it this time, didn't you? Good lord. This kid is just like drawn to trouble. Poor bastard.
And this is a setup, another hostage situation as he keep getting himself into those situations.
Exactly.
Starts off by calling out Claire. She says, "You can come out now. I know you've been following me. I'm your next job, aren't I?"
And who happens to step out? And there she is. Beautiful woman with a sword in a sea of trees.
Mm-hmm.
And he sees her. They lock eyes. And he's like, "Claire." And then, of course, the Claymore's like, the Yoma Claymore, as I should call her. It's like, you've been hunting me for a while, and everywhere I hide, you stick to me like a shadow, you stupid, all that kind of stuff. Claire takes a step and says, "Hey, don't make another move. I know how fast Claymores are. Take one more step, and I'll rip out his throat. Not one false move. Now I want you to take your sword, and I want you to drop it." So Claire reaches for her sword. You think she's going to do something really cool here, but instead she goes, "What makes you think a hostage will stop me?" And right then and there, and that was the point, and this is the moment where the Morgan Freeman voice would come in for me. It was at that moment his heart stopped. I was like, oh no! And he goes, and then the Yoma's like even shocked, going, "I never thought it would. I never thought it would, not until yesterday. But when I saw you carry him into town with such care, I changed my mind. That's when I knew how useful he could be." And it's just like, damn it, Rocky! You made Claire care, which now made the villains aware that she cares for this guy.
Right.
And she's totally like going, "You might have," and then this is where the cruelty of this Yoma comes in, I might add. It's going, "You may be part monster and a ruthless killer, but you used to be human. Even if you can keep your emotions in check, the silver-eyed witch can't forget memories of her past life. For instance, when you were human, you might have had a little brother. Maybe this boy reminds you of him." Claire's eyes narrow. "Well, am I right? Go ahead. If you can kill me along with the boy, then do it." And Claire takes out the sword and throws it away. She just says, "How's that?" And the Claymore and the Yoma's like going, "Ha, you fool! You humans really are fools. You may only be half humans, but your Claymores are half of nothing." She goes running right over to Claire and shoves her whole fist right through her abdomen. And you're like, "Oh crap!"
You can feel the impact of when the Yoma attacked Claire. Like, oh, dang.
Yeah.
Yep, you're feeling it, right? Like, because it goes right through her abdomen. And what does Claire do when you see her face? She coughs up blood.
Right.
And you're like, "Oh, I'm feeling it."
It's like one of those Bleach moments.
Mm-hmm. And tackles her.
Just stuck her in.
Mm-hmm.
Just straight stuck her in.
And it was awkward for everyone.
Yep. I mean, you could just tell that that it was her first time really being penetrated. I mean, the blood was just everywhere.
You just gotta go out there and do it.
But what I love about the scene is that you think, oh my God, she's just received a terrible injury. The Yoma sticks its fist right through her and tackles her to the ground. What does Claire do? Grabs it, throws it on its back while its fist is still in her stomach, mind you. And it turns out Claire maneuvered the Yoma's charge right by her sword. So she just reaches out for her sword. It's like, oh, and you're just like, holy crap!
Straight up movie moment.
Straight up movie moment here because I love it. She just reaches out for the sword, takes it, and kills the beast. And of course, after she cuts it off and kills it, she cuts off the arm, then kills the beast, and then stands up with the creature's arm still in her stomach.
And she takes it out.
Yep, takes it right out, and then her eyes glow she gets that, her veins pop up again, and she just starts healing her stomach the way she does. And what's Rocky doing? He's running down to her. He's saying, Claire, are you okay? I'm sorry. It's my fault. It's all my fault. And she just looks at him and says, oh, don't get the wrong idea. I didn't throw the sword away because of you. I only did it to trap the Yoma. If I'd gone through you to get to him, he would have killed you and gotten away. So I dropped my sword to draw him in. And Rocky's like, oh, well, okay. And she's like going, by the way, you're a long way from your village. What are you doing here? I'm just like, I love how cold-hearted she's looking here, but I'm like, as I'm reading this, I'm like going, Claire, you're fooling nobody.
Asking,
you're
did
not
they throw you out?
Mm-hmm. And she's like going, did they throw you out of the village? And he just stops. He goes, no, I left. Well, he's just like, I. And then Claire's eyes go downward, and boom, we got a memory triggered here. You got her saying, you're my brother, mother, and father. There. Why are you doing this? Why? And then you see a Yoma attacking little Claire, and a Claymore coming by and saving her life in a manner that is very similar, not exactly, but similar to what happened between her and Rocky. And right then and here we see her sitting in the fetal position, exactly the way Rocky did in chapter 1. And you're hearing people talking around her. What will we do with her? Poor Claire. Her father and mother were killed, and her brother was a Yoma, the poor child. But if we raise her here, we can't say for sure that she's not a Yoma herself. Truth be told, the ones to be afraid of are those close to the Yoma's victims. And then Claire comes back to reality, and snap, there went gravity.
Wait, Schooner, did you mention that he was about to violate her?
No, I did not. See, oh, you're right. Oh, my God. I did not notice that position. Oh, my God. Hang on. I'm looking at the manga right now. Holy crap. The way he's positioning her, you can see he's rolling up her dress. Oh, my God.
Mm-hmm.
That's screwed up.
So
that's really screwed up.
Yeah, there are moments where, they always eat the organs of the humans. We forgot to mention that earlier in the stream, but like their main source of food is the organs. They tend to eat the guts, as a lot of people like to slang it. The guts, the organs. They like to play in them and eat the organs. Mostly the organs, but in some cases, in the case of Claire, they do. Especially the male ones. The male ones tend to go a little bit too far when they play with their food.
I didn't notice this either, but if you look closely before the Yoma gets it
again.
Dang it. We've lost another one, Jim.
He'll be back.
I also didn't notice this either, but if you look
They're
closely,
dead, Jim.
They're dead, Jim. If you look closely, though, at the Yoma that's about to violate Claire, you can actually see this Yoma's crying as well. I did not notice that before.
Yeah, I see the tears.
Yeah, you can see the tears.
Just like Rocky's brother.
Mm-hmm. And then Claire is just snapped back to
reality.
Mind you
guys, forewarning, this we mentioned that this book series is as close as Berserk as it can get. There is no shortage of sexual violations happening in this story.
No.
You know,
However, I
or
did find it.
at least there'll be scenes that not depicted, mind you. Not there'll be scenes not depicted, mind you. But if you look at it in a different context or a different way, it comes close,
It comes,
completely close. To
and I
go
respect
ahead,
the
Schooner.
creator. I respect the creator for doing this. He decides not to go down the full Berserk route or Game of Thrones route, but instead pays references to it or alludes to it, which in certain contexts can be worse. I mean, I didn't even realize that right now in this backstory right here that he was rolling up her dress. I'm like, oh God.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm looking at it now, and I was like, oh snap, Schooner overlooked
Yeah,
something.
I overlooked something. I am human after all. Well, part human and fish.
Oh, later on, this is not the first time this won't be the last time this happened either. Cause whoa,
Oh,
just
but
whoa.
yeah, whoa, indeed. But I love it though when what she said to Rocky. She immediately goes to, "What are you doing away from your village? Did they throw you out?" And he didn't respond at first. He was like going, "No, I." But then you see Claire. This is where it jumps POVs because you see Claire's point of view at this point, and you see where her trauma or where her motive really is. Where her motive is, she she lost her family to a Yoma as well, but the reason why she became a Claymore is because she couldn't return to her normal life after that because everybody was suspicious of her possibly being a Yoma sleeper.
Hmm. Even Rocky belts out, "I'm not a Yoma." He's
Mm-hmm.
like she she says, "Truth be told, the ones to be afraid are those close to Yoma's victims."
Mm-hmm.
And that's what triggers him to say that. And he says, and she asks him a certain question: "Do you know how to cook?"
Yeah.
She effectively recruits him to be a squire in a
I
way.
know. And that's the
That
thing.
makes sense.
She recruits him without telling him that she recruits him. And I love that. It says that's not why I'm not a Yoma. And he goes, "Do you know how to cook?" Eh? I love that. I love his first response. Eh?
What?
And yep. And she goes, "You said before that you do the cooking. Are you any good?" Oh yeah, back in volume 1, I forgot that. He says that he's living with his uncle now and that he mostly cooks and cleans and all that kind of stuff. I
Yeah,
forgot
he's
that.
about to ready to get ready cooking when he arrives home late, and
Yep.
that's basically inferred attribute, which it does get some more elaboration where in the future of the story he basically sometimes cooks the meals for her.
I love it too. She says, "Are you any good?" And his eyes widen. He doesn't respond. He's just nodding.
Okay, then she says in response.
"If you cook, you can follow me until we reach a town where you want to live in." And he's just like, "Okay."
End of chapter.
Oh, that's beautiful. But that's what I love about these chapters so far. We're getting a little bit at a time, and I love how they're using the action to tell a story, or the action leads to a character development moment.
And also at the same time, so you're learning more about each of the characters, not to mention the setting of Claymore.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. You
And of
can already.
course, as they're traveling, you hear in the background, "All I do is think of you day and night. I can't get you off my mind. Think about all the time." Imagine that playing in the background as the chapter ends.
Or you could just see Rocky in the future, freeze frame, and then Rocky, a much older version of him,
And that,
I
children,
can't
is
wait to get to school each day and wait for you to pass my way. And bells start to ring and angel starts to sing. Hey, that's a girl for you. So what you gonna do? By the way, all I do is think of you by Troop. If anybody want to know where that song is from.
No, I
hmm
no. I mean, the moment you started singing that song, like I know it.
Oh, your brother in real life, huh, Dominic? No, I'm kidding. It's like the
I
only
have
way you know if you black. No, I'm kidding. Or you grew up in the '90s and you heard that playing in the background. A very black
Yeah.
neighborhood.
Well, the neighborhood that I lived in was filled with people from different backgrounds and races. So
So you be hard pressed to go by a a house that was all I do is think of you
well,
all the time.
besides True, there's also Gloria Estefan, Santana, Color Me Bad, New Edition, The Go Go's,
Right,
The Bangles,
right,
and others,
exactly. Or
and the Eurythmics.
those were the times, man. Those were the times. Man, give me a time machine so I can go back. I'm kidding. But we're on chapter 4 now, so I'm sure Dominic, you pretty much got to chapter 4 too as well. Or how far did you really get?
Well, I finished volume 1 some time ago, and I'm almost done with volume 2.
Okay, so we can begin with we can continue on with chapter 4. Sorry, where we we show the biological differences between Rocky and Claire, and basically just kind of like build on the big sister nature of and big sister little brother nature of Claire and Rocky. Did we just lose
Well,
Schooner now?
hopefully we didn't,
Trooper's here though.
because we
Hey,
stopped.
Trooper.
Hey, what's up?
Hey,
The
Trooper.
the Trooper FN 2525, everybody from Occupied Balmora is with us, and Schooner will be back. He just disappeared.
Oh,
We're
okay.
pretty much on chapter 4, dude.
Oh, okay.
We
So
start off in the first page with Rocky's stomach growling.
yeah,
Okay.
I'll just send it to the private chat in case you want to follow along. Trooper.
Yeah, yeah.
Trooper's here, Schooner.
Yep, and I just got back. I pushed the wrong button.
It's one
Alrighty,
of those days.
it's one of those days. Yeah, but we're on chapter
Just one of
4,
those
and this is already.
days. No need to take it personal.
Yeah, it's funny.
Trooper, been
It's funny.
meaning to
Like
ask.
the first time like you
Hang
hear
on,
something like
Dominic. What are you gonna ask Schooner?
I was just saying, Trooper, been meaning to ask, what did you think of Claymore? Because we're already on. We've passed the first 3 chapters.
I didn't really think. Honestly, I didn't really think of it one way or another. It was to me. I zoomed through it. It plays like typical East Asian entertainment. It's very expositive. The expositions worked into the story in a way that you can follow it. And it follows just like any other typical manga or anime where you're just kind of thrown into the world and you just kind of learn as you go. That's pretty much it. Like,
I love
Right.
it. I love it.
I didn't think anything one way or the other. I mean, I thought it was pretty dull, but I mean, by the end of the 4th chapter, I was like, yeah, I'd be willing to read like more, but
Right.
I'm not like, oh my gosh, this is so good. I mean, it's a demon slasher, so I mean, it it's all right. And comparative to what we're getting right now in terms of Western entertainment, it's still going to be better. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Yeah, you're probably right about that.
I mean, one,
Yeah.
I mean, one thing
But I
to
loved,
keep in
I
mind
loved
about
it.
Eastern storytelling is that
Go ahead, Dominic.
I'm sure you did. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, one thing to keep in mind about Eastern storytelling is they don't use the 3-act story structure. They use a four-act narrative structure called Kishoten Ketsu. Key
Oh yeah.
key being meaning introduction, show development, twist 10, and resolution Ketsu.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, it plays like anything else. Mostly expository. I mean, we're talking about the first 4 chapters. This thing has like what, 27? So not 27, like 127, something like that. It's some ridiculous number.
Try
But like,
100. Try 154 chapters.
okay, yeah, that. So it's like, I mean, you could sit there, you could probably read it in about a day. I mean, I went
It
through it in
gets
about
by
20
fast,
minutes.
and it
Like,
gets information done fast.
I mean, I think I took more time with like the first chapter, and then after that, everything kind of just zoomed by pretty quickly. I was like, okay, cool. So
What I
like,
what
so
I
when
like
Brian
is
was
that
like, "Oh, I gotta dip out on this one," I'm like, "Really?" I'm like, "All right." I'm like, "I guess, dude." I'm like, "Whatever."
I mean, if had I told him that he could follow along with us I did mention in the chat just
No,
now. I
you've
was like,
already mentioned that before. So I mean,
I'm like, dude,
it's not.
I just linked you the link. Just
Yeah,
just
yeah,
pull it up. It's the first chapter. You can listen to us talk and interject when you need to once you're following
right,
along with us, because we're going by chapter. We're gonna talk at length as much as we can with the chapters.
right.
Mhm.
But whatever. It's him. He
You know,
decided that.
it's already set. I also think too, it sets up its characters in a very nice. Very nice. It's very methodical, well thought out, and very straightforward. And I think that's what I like most about it. And the plot, it doesn't play fast and loose with its continuity. Instead, what it does is it gives you a very little bit of information, and
Oh,
then
finally this shit loads up. Hang on. Hang on. So look, when he mentioned that, this is me.
You crazy. You're crazy. Okay? Cole, you don't knock on people's door like that. That is disrespectful.
It is very disrespectful.
Like, soon as he mentioned that he's gonna dip out, I'm like, bro, you said you was gonna be here. You said you was up for it, and you gonna dip out because you're not familiar with this. Bro, I told you we're gonna be doing Claymore. You had,
Bro, you brought it up a month ago.
Oh,
You brought it up a month ago, and I'm not the one spurging, but you brought it up a month ago. Like, you could have literally put it off for like 29 days and 23 hours and 30 minutes, and still had like 10 minutes to spare.
And I told him the first 4 chapters.
Yeah.
That's all right.
I'm like, bro, I didn't ask you to read the whole damn volume.
Oh, I know, like some people.
I'm giving them shit. I know.
You don't want to forget you, Trooper. I liked it, so I went further.
I know you did, because Wolf was like, "Oh yeah,
he's committed. He's committed."
And I'm like, I'm like, yeah, he would. I'm like, he would.
You know what? This is the type of stuff I enjoy. I mean, I enjoy sword and sorcery. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm very particular. I want good story and good character.
I mean, I am too.
His ass.
I mean, I'm all about dystopic future, like, retro futurism. I mean, that's pretty much all I like. So, I mean, it's very hard for me to get into anything else.
By the way,
like, I can kind of maybe get into westerns, but it's got to be sci-fi.
Yeah, pretty sure we're gonna dip into a sci-fi manga of, I guess, more my choosing. Maybe I'll go one
I need big tips like
are
this.
going in blind, like Garden Franks.
If I was a decent writer, I mean, I'd have to literally create my own content. So.
You're a decent
Probably
writer.
Darian the Frank.
I've heard some of yours. I've heard some of your stuff on a elevator pitch, Trooper. So some of your stuff is good.
Well, it's honestly, like I was telling Wolf, like I have to be either super motivated or I have to have some form of deadline, because other than that, I drag. So it's
Mhm.
just like I have to be like 100% like into it, and that tends to be pretty hard for me now, because I mean, look at the type of stuff that we're discussing versus what's being put out by Western entertainment. So it's like
Yeah. Instead of
we're
getting,
hardly doing anything with Western entertainment, to be perfectly
Makes me want to
honest.
cry.
The
and
future is not Western entertainment.
I did. I
Sadly,
did.
it's not.
I did
can I just
mention what I would do if I was
can I just
helming a
say
live
this?
action Claymore.
Yeah, I know, and it's amazing, and I love it. I want
Go ahead.
that, but I know streaming services will just screw it up.
Yeah, pretty much. Like I agree.
Yep.
I agree with your point, because you're always going to get like one writer or a producer, or you might actually get.
Oh, I read the manga. I'm familiar with
Mhm.
the story. The characters are so good, and then you hear the next thing that comes out of their freaking noise hole.
Well,
Oh, it's
I
all
think
about female empowerment.
well,
We're gonna push more diversity.
I think it has more to do with the fact that it takes a while to develop an intellectual property. It doesn't happen overnight. It can happen overnight, but I mean those are like lightning strikes. I
Can I
mean
just
that's
say
like
this one?
Star Wars.
Can I just say this one thing? During this
Yeah.
entire discussion of covering the first 4 volumes of the 4 chapters of Claymore, we're still on the fourth
Right.
chapter.
Right.
Never at all in this entire conversation where did the subject of woke or the fact that Claire's a woman or none of that stuff came up, because what is the most important thing about Claymore? The story. Okay, I guarantee you, nobody would have nobody, if this is a faithful adaptation, people would not be complaining about the fact. I mean, yeah, you're going to get the oh god, SJ hobos and the
Or the
wokophiles who
black
will,
woman.
yeah, or something like that. They'll probably be doing all that kind of crap. But this is everything that we want to see in the entertainment industry. Okay, we don't want you to call attention to that crap. Okay, and we want you to tell a compelling story, and this did it in a way that SJWs should be taking notes from. This is how you do it.
But no, they say we're the black. Go ahead, Dominic.
From the masters. I was saying, and actually learn from the masters, and as well as classic storytelling and why they persevered for all these centuries, instead of like breaking them down and not putting them back together.
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
openly dismiss them.
Openly, yeah, and that's a problem with this, is that SJ hobos and Lucasfilm employees, they would dismiss this. I mean, they would totally dismiss this unless they could exploit it for their own benefit.
They'll label it as men writing women, and this is what I have to say.
Now, can you please help us?
And can you please back up out my damn face? Okay,
I love it. I love it.
Well,
You know
I
what?
mean, I think it comes down to licensing and who owns what, because, like I said, it takes a long time to develop an intellectual property. So,
You know what? Let's do it. I'm serious. Let's first off, let's buy the film rights to Claymore, make our own variation of Claymore, and when people yell and start complaining at us, we just fire back with, what bothers you more? The fact that you couldn't tell a woke story that everybody loves, or the fact that we did it and we didn't have, and that we didn't have to go down to your level.
well, the problem with doing anything in terms of maybe like anime or even manga based films is that you have to pick like one small portion of, say, of a larger overarching storyline, and that's literally your film. I mean that's kind of what Naruto suffers from. Like you could maybe try to find something in there you could turn into a film, but the way it plays out over time. So
Well,
trying
that's
to make that into 2 hours or under 2 hours is pretty difficult. So
all right, fine. Then we do the next best thing. We turn it into a limited series,
no.
Yep.
or we turn it
No.
into.
You don't think
No.
so, Trooper?
I mean, if you look at the Pokemon film, I mean, it was its own storyline. Like,
Right.
I mean, if we're talking about popular franchises that made it onto the Western screen,
Mhm.
other than that, I mean, what you've had, Ponyo, which was
Mhm.
trashed, and then you've
Mhm.
had what's the other one?
You didn't like Ponyo? I'm
I
sad.
If you listen,
Ponyo was dank, dude.
if you listen closely, you can actually hear a bunch of Miyazaki fans crying
I'm sure.
right now.
And then I'm trying to think of what
Oh,
else.
by the way, I love Ponyo.
Ponyo's fine. It's not.
That's
it's not
that
the
that
best.
adds like one more to the population. So I mean, now
It's
there's
like,
what
if I
2
don't-
people that
here's
like
the thing,
Ponyo.
Here's the thing. It's not Hayao Miyazaki's best movie, but I did enjoy it for what it was.
I'm thinking of what else. Something cleaning service. That was another.
Kiki's delivery service.
Yeah, that was another trash fire.
Well, yeah, that one was screwed by the media
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I can.
in its translation. I mean, or
Yep.
rather the sub the dub part.
Yeah,
Well, can I just say the one great casting choice was Phil Hartman. God rest his soul, for the cat.
Yeah.
Phil Hartman did a good job playing as a cat.
Yeah.
Meow 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 meow. What about Totoro?
But I mean, that's kind of where we're at. It's like can you turn Sailor Moon into a film only if it's animated? Like, because live action is going to be pretty difficult. I mean,
They tried.
I mean,
I think they've actually tried. The answer is yes. You can. Will it succeed? Depends on who you're talking to.
Well, it depends on the dollar figure that you have, because you're gonna end up needing to do like small models.
Well, I'm also thinking about
you
too.
can't
Look
CG
at
the
Sonic
whole
the
thing.
Look at Sonic the Hedgehog, though. They were able to do it.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, but I don't follow Sonic, so I mean.
Well, that's the thing. In the case, here's the thing. I can only voice my ideas of what I could do if I was doing these movies live action, these animes live action. That's the only thing I can really do. I wouldn't say my ideas would succeed or anything.
Right.
But I know. I look at these stuff and I know where to alter some stuff, or play some loosely, and where to which stories will be best adapted.
Mm-hmm.
In the case of Sailor Moon or say Claymore, you would have to really take the Alita Battle Angel route with Claymore 2 at times. You cannot do that with Fullmetal Alchemist, which they did do.
Yeah.
Fullmetal Alchemist to some extent.
Right.
In the case of Claymore, it's like the way how Trooper was questioning it about in Elevator Pitch. Now that you guys mentioned Elevator Pitch, how are we, like, the biggest hurdle I would have is to how we can separate this from The Witcher, because everybody's going to think, oh, it's like The Witcher, or it ripped off The Witcher. I'm like, bitch, shut the fuck up. Everything was inspired by the damn Witcher to you.
Well, yeah, I mean, and that's a problem that you have with mainstream casual audiences. I mean, they're going to
They're the comparers.
Yeah, because I mean, that's what they do.
And I think that's
it's like that's why you have these like
go ahead.
huge numbers on YouTube. I mean, granted, they tend to be worldwide numbers because they're just not restricted to the U.S. But I mean, it's another reason why you can tell that there is such a lack or a void of content when they're having to turn to alternative sources for entertainment. So, and that mostly comprises, it's comprised of YouTubers criticizing Western culture, or rather, modern pop culture that's actually now kind of, I hate to use the word manifesting, because that's not the correct word. That's now being engineered. That's probably the best way to put it. It's being
manufactured,
shoehorned into mainstream. So,
I think,
Manufacturing.
for my honest opinion, the first 4 chapters can be adapted into an hour-long TV show pilot.
Hmm.
You can do it.
Probably. I mean, you'd have to add some lines and kind of like play with it a little bit, but
Yeah.
that or would end up being like a 45-minute.
Mhm.
Yeah, you could do that. It'd end up being 45 minutes, with 15 minutes full, 15 minutes
I
worth
already
of
have my
commercials.
2 casting choices.
But it would be, yeah, it would basically, I think you could do 45 minutes out of it, maybe.
Mhm.
Rocky will be the tough one though to cast.
Especially given with what happens later on in the story. You gonna because we're gonna have because there is spoiler alert, there is a time jump.
Exactly.
Of course, like anything else.
Not in this case, but in the case of the time jump in this one, I think a lot of what happens in between the time jump is definitely well earned.
And they take time to ease you into it as well. A lot of things happen, but things are explained, and as flimsy as it can be at times, it's not that bad.
No.
You can thoroughly see these type of characters doing whatever with their time within the time jump. I would say it's hell a lot better than Young Justice Invasion's time jump.
Oh my
Which
God, that
which
was
they
a devastation. That was a devastation.
Dominic, what are you gonna say?
I was gonna say, or Avengers Endgame's time jump.
Which had little to no explanation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Whereas at least like in Young Justice Invasion, they attempt to try to put in some effort into it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that it needed more time to bake.
Right.
And what were you gonna say, Dominic?
What I was about to say is like it caught me by surprise from season 2 of Young Justice that they were going to do a time jump, and seeing how it played out, my reaction was, oof, yeah, you did not execute this well.
I was like, who's Lagoon Boy and why is she kissing on Miss Martian?
Yeah.
Who is Rocket? I don't know no Rocket. I like her. I just don't know her yet. How the hell Caldor joined his daddy Black Manta, and when did he get this revelation?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like that would confuse even the most casual of viewers because if your audiences are longtime comic book fans, they would recognize these characters, while normies not so much.
Even then, as a comic fan, I was still asking, okay, who are you and why are you kissing on Magan?
Mm-hmm. It's like, it's like, look, as much as I love my man Lagoon Boy, it's like, what are you doing? Those are Superboy's lips. What are you smacking on? Those belong to Superboy. What's going on here? What? Why is he that? Wait, Duke, Connor, why are you walking by as if nothing's wrong? What is going on? Somebody explain!
And they don't even tell you, like, they don't even cover that.
That was my reaction to from the first episode of Invasion. Because even though the TV show is it's an in-name only adaptation of the original comic book series Young Justice, there are still questions that everyone wants to know. No, but you don't get those answers until later on down the line of season 2, which I think.
I will say this, by the way. I gotta say this. That time jump, to me, at the very least, that's what killed the show.
Killed the writing and the story.
It killed the writing and the story. The first season had just such an excellent momentum going. I think they should have continued with that. The 5-year jump should have been 5 seasons of story.
Yeah, you also have the video game, which takes place between the 5-year time jump, which I appreciate the attempt. At the same time, they could have like placed that into the TV show, but have it be like 5 seasons that covers that time jump instead of doing an off-screen time jump for 5 years.
Yeah. I'm going to cut in here because I know this was a great little segue, but I want to get back on volume 4.
I was just about to get into that.
Yeah.
Chapter 4.
I want to get into chapter 4.
Uh, which gives us a nice, unique detail about Claymore physiology.
Mm-hmm. And not only that, we also get a really big piece on how the inner workings of the organization work.
Not to mention,
A very nice piece. So let's just. So I'm going to recap here. The first chapter 4 begins with a little grumbly in the tumbly with Rocky. He's all hungry, and Claire is like saying, "You hungry?" And he goes, "Yeah, I mean, we haven't eaten anything since breakfast, and we've been walking all day. It's kind of strange that you're not hungry." She eyes him, pulls out her sword, throws it, and then it just happens to hit a giant lizard that is a large distance away. And Rocky goes going, "Oh, shit." And she looks right at him and goes, "Will that do?" And it cuts to a bonfire. He's cooking the lizard, and he's like, "I brought some water. All right, I think it's done. Looks awful. Tastes pretty good. Here's your piece. I'll dry the rest, so it'll keep us full for a while." And Rocky's just going to town. Bum 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 bum. And of course, he looks up, and Claire is just like, "Small bite, small bite, small bite," and then puts it down like, "I'm done." And it's like, "Look, what, you're done? Is it bad?" "No, I'm full." I'm just like, what? Whoa, that's gonna save on a bill. All right. And she's like, "Our bodies need very little. We eat once every couple of days. We can easily go a week without food or water." Exactly what you were saying, Wolf. We find out more about physiology.
Yep.
It's enough just watching you eat like that. I'm a little envious, really. I guess that's what it's like to be human. Oh, and we learned some more character development about her. And then that's when, it's finally reality is kind of setting in for Rocky. It's like, I have to remember that Claire is not, she may look human and normal, but she's not.
And then you hear the song, I done fucked up the song. Never.
Can't keep my eyes off of you.
That
or
that that and I can't get you off my mind.
But,
or damn it. Never mind. Continue, Schooner.
well, Claire just basically looks up as if suddenly something has caught her eye. She gets up and she starts walking away, and she just says, "Don't follow me," and walks into the forest. Rocky, in his little naivete, just goes, "Huh, well, maybe she has to use the toilet." And this is where Rubel shows up, and it's like, well, how impulsive. Why did you bring the child with you? He'll only get in your way. He's just the cook. He won't be in the way. Oh, you have a cook now. Sounds like something a human would do. Or maybe he reminds you of somebody from your past. How sentimental. And she's just like, "All right, why are you here?" And he just throws her some new armor, saying, "It's brand new. So let's take a look." And he goes, "Let's take a look." And she strips down, and he sees the injury, and she says, "All right, don't forget, even if the wound closes, if you get hit in a vital spot, you'll die just like a Yoma." But tells her that she's fine for now. And this is another thing, too, that comes up way later, but I like how Rubel sets it up here. He goes, "I wonder what the boy would think if he saw you like that." Which, by the way, is not what people think. It's like, "Oh, wow, seeing a naked woman." No. If you read the manga, you'll see.
Which they don't really show until sometime close to the end of the story.
Yep.
One of the characters show Rocky and not Claire. But we do kind of get a few hints of what it looks like, because her torso is
still got a wound.
Well, the thing is, for lack of better terms, I don't really want to say what it is yet. until we decide to revisit that,
Mhm.
which is a lot of people like.
I can do a mini spoiler here if that works.
I mean, if you can be vague with it, go ahead.
I'll be vague with it. Later on in the manga series, we get a flashback to Claire's past about how she came into contact with the Claymore. They come into a group of bandits and bandits who want to have their way with them, and the Claymore's just saying, "Oh, if that's really all you want," and she just pulls out, like undresses right before all of them, like saying, "Here, do what you want, no matter what you want to do." And all the bandits are like, "Oh my god,
It's hideous.
that's hideous! It's disgusting!" Ah! And they just
And they
walk
run away.
They run away.
But yeah.
But that's really all. That's all of, like, the information you get for the time, and I'm just like, wow. So that's what Ruble meant.
Yeah. Of course, he reveals something else. That's another key thing that adds to how the Claymores operate and what makes their lives very difficult.
Mm-hmm. He says,
So,
I have something else for you. Go ahead, Wolf.
So they do mention that, or at least she specifically says that they have a short lifespan when they're Claymores. There's some context to that, and that's not exactly what she means.
Mm-hmm. They say that, they have a very short life expectancy, and the reader at first is meant to believe, oh, so this is an occupational hazard. Eventually, you will get killed by a Yoma. No,
or it's led to believe that they die much earlier than regular humans. No.
Nope, not in the slightest.
They're like the Witchers, so.
Mm-hmm. But I love it because he says, he also reminds her, you shouldn't be so impulsive. Don't get attached to him or others will get hurt. But I have this for you. And he pulls out a black card.
And what's on the black card? A symbol.
Mm-hmm. And that's another thing, too, what you love. You see Claire's symbol and you think that that's a symbol of a Claymore. Well, no. Turns out every single Claymore has their own individual sigil. And go ahead.
No. Keep going. You're on the roll. Keep going.
All right. So when she sees the sigil, she comes back all dead face and just tells Rocky, tomorrow we're going to cross the mountains. Be ready to go. And they start walking. And Rocky is looking at Claire, seeing that she's a little more offset than usual. And he says, are we going after a Yoma? And she says, no. My job today is to take down someone you call a Claymore. And he's like, what? Why would you have to do that? You do know that we're half monsters, right? And she says, in our bodies, we hold the power of a Yoma and control it with our human minds, which preserve our identities. We're basically monsters with human heads. That's what they mean by half human, half monster. Even though we are half-breeds, we side with the humans and kill Yoma. We are humankind's greatest weapon. Before we existed, humans were powerless against the Yoma, but by using the Yoma's own power, they could finally be defeated. But there's one drawback. Half-breeds eventually become full-blown monsters.
Pause right there.
Yep, pausing right here.
That's what she mean by life expectancy, and they don't get to live that long. Eventually, they succumb to that power.
Mm-hmm.
Which we're gonna press play now and see how that plays out.
So Rocky is like going, but then that means, and she says, if we lived like normal people, we would be a problem. But the more we use the Yoma's strength and abilities, the closer we are to becoming monsters. And she goes on to say that it's a tug of war between human and monster, and to prevent us from breaking down and turning into monsters, the organization has a plan. It's called a black card. And it's basically, they're given a unique mark, and they have a unique sigil and a mark here, and it's really cool. She opens up the bottom of her sword and she displays her marking. That's really cool. But
Mhm.
She says, when the human mind has reached its limit and we are sure we're going to turn into a monster, we've made up our minds to die in our human forms. So therefore we send the black card out to who we want to be killed by. And this is also pretty cool because it also shows that this person who's going to turn, this Claymore who's going to turn into a Yoma, has specifically asked for Claire. That's an important note. Yeah, you find out her name is Elena, and she joined the organization the same time as Claire. They comforted each other back in the darkest hours, and when their bodies were transformed, they were racked with pain, and they held on to each other. And there we go. And then after that, we run into Elena. We run into Elena, and the two of them have a short little conversation. And it's revealed that Elena is actually forcing back her Yoma energy so she doesn't transform because she wants to stay a human.
Exactly.
And the two of them are about to fight, but Rocky is just basically saying, you don't have to do this. She's your friend. Don't do this, please. And Elena is just begging Claire to do it. And Rocky's saying, don't do it. Claire does it and kills her. And Elena is, of course, saying thank you to her, and now I can die as a human.
It's very emotional too when you watch it in the anime as well. Watch it play out in the anime.
Mm-hmm.
The voice acting was, especially if you watch the dub, the voice acting was pretty emotional. They did a good job voicing the character for a brief scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm getting teary-eyed.
Well, it is unfortunate, but the very next scene, it shows how sentimental Claire actually is, because one, they they lay her sword down, almost looking like, I actually think it's kind of cool how they laid the sword down, and it almost does look like a cross.
Exactly, or rather, a grave.
Mm-hmm. And
well, it doubles that, a cross and a grave. Consider the weapon that they use, and we didn't really get to go into a bit more detail about the weapons they use. The Claymore being a long sword, or at least a great sword, and a two-handed sword at that. It's a different design in the manga, but in the anime they make it look wide, like almost Dragon Slayer wide, which was interesting that they would go that route, considering that the slots that I think they had to redesign the slots in their armor, their back armor for that anime, because if you notice their armor in the manga, there's a slot where they insert the sword, which obviously you wonder how they're able to sheath that sword that way. But the way how they did in the anime, they just slide it in. I think it's the same design too here though.
Mm-hmm.
But back to what I was saying about the design, it's actually much thinner in the manga than it is in the anime, because the anime, again, that thing is massive. Just like Dragon Slayer massive, like Guts Golden Age art. It put it like this. It came from like in the manga it looks like Guts Golden Age arc sword. But in the anime it looks like straight up Dragon Slayer. I'm like, what the heck? It's crazy. That's crazy. But yeah, it's a very sentimental chapter because I believe that's pretty much the end of that chapter. It ends with
he's basically saying, Rocky, as he's crying at her grave, Claire is solemn, and she recites, once again that Elena was her friend. They helped each other through the darkest of times, and she considered her really a true friend. And Rocky is asking, why did you do it? And, why all of this? And Claire just says very nonchalantly, it goes, for us, this is the way of life. This is just the way of life for us.
Almost like a soldier.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's also a very important thing too, because now it's asking, this is what made me want to even read even more now, because it's like, oh my gosh, will this be Claire's fate? And then you start wondering what's going to happen to Rocky. Is he going to have to watch Claire die? Or is Claire going to transform and eat Rocky?
kind of goes back to what I was saying about Attack on Titan and the way how I went. I was discussing with Dominic Powell earlier in the green room before Schooner stepped in. I was like, imagine if the story went a basic route, just like I asked this question. Imagine if Attack on Titan went on the basic route, which is they're fighting for humanity, fighting the Titans on the island and get into the ocean. That would have been at least a quick story, because they did eventually like rally all the Titans, mostly because Marley did. For some reason, Marley didn't cast nobody else out anymore. It seems like it's like things were changing at that point. It with the way how the story went with Attack on Titan. But again, if it was just them fighting the Titans and you never knew where the Titans came from, and they finally slaughtered all of them, like that's like the most basic storyline. In the case of Claymore, that's pretty much where it would have went.
But now you're getting some depth here now, because now it's what I like about this is not just a simple, kill what was it, knight kills monster type deal. Now you realize, it turns out the knights eventually turn into monsters.
Yeah, that and the next chapter will explore what they're talking about at the end of this chapter, which we're not gonna get into. We will come. I would say we will come back to talking about Claymore, but I want to get into some other manga to at least talk about, especially manga that I have never even read. I think what we could check out would be Gigant.
Gigant?
Yep. Basically, you guys remember the mangaka who made Gantz?
Ooh, Gats, yeah.
I was also thinking about Inuyashiki, but I was debating on whether we should do Gigant or Inuyashiki, because this guy is weird with his story concepts. So you guys know the premise of Inuyashiki, right?
I haven't.
Really. No.
I have not.
Okay, Inuyashiki is Superman if he was a robot.
Oh, wow.
And an old man.
Oh, wow.
Fighting a sociopathic, basically fighting a sociopathic, nihilistic, what's a good super villain comparison for him? I'm gonna go with Light Yagami.
Oh, okay.
Light Yagami if he was a super robot.
Oh, okay. So it's robot. I like it.
Only difference is this Light Yagami is heavily into manga and manga only. He has no aspirations for anything other than just being the cool guy and whatnot. While there's a Jimmy Olsen talking to the two, because he befriends Inuyashiki, the title character, which is Superman if he was old and he's a robot, but he's also friends with the what's his name? Oh, how I forget his name. But anyways, he's friends with that guy, but he befriends Inuyashiki at the end. So it's like you got, in this case, like I said, if you had to throw in the Western theme to it, it'd be Jimmy Olsen teaching Superman how to use his powers.
Oh, that's cool.
Whereas Superman was I think this was the inspiration for that Superman write that I did for the Fantasy Studio Office for the DCEU.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what inspired me, because he was operating on superheroism before he met the Jimmy Olsen, quote unquote. And that's where he started learning stuff. But Gigant, what I say was weird is that here's the premise. Porn star gets a freaking gigantic device, or at least a size manipulating device, and fights giant aliens.
Well, it's like any other anime. I mean, just come up with a story and then just go with it.
Oh my god!
Same with manga. I mean, come up with a story and just go with it.
Oh my god! Too many jokes. Too many jokes. I'm having an overload.
And I'm not saying that to be pedantic, dude. That that's really the character. She's a freaking porn star, and she's dating an aspiring adult filmmaker,
Oh my God.
and some random old dude. The mangaka got this thing about weird old men that do weird things, and suddenly aliens and shit
Mhm.
happens. But like the old dude gives her.
So, one person would say, well, maybe he's just an abstract creator trying to find things that kind of shake the foundation. And then there's the other side of the argument. No, he's a pervert.
An edgy pervert. But yeah, like in this case, like I said, the porn star gets a device from a hobo and draws, and like the moment she moves the dial, she gets bigger, and she's always in these awkward positions, and of course her clothes rip off because size.
Oh my God. All right. Again, I'm going more on the argument of pervert.
Right. I haven't gotten that far into where the giants start coming in, but like
Oh, I bet everything's ginormous.
she ain't the only one either. That's the thing. She ain't the only one.
I know, because that would be crazy.
If she was the only one.
Oh yeah, because that would be crazy.
All I'm saying is like his stories tend to end in such a way that just like, wow, it ended like that. Okay. So I'm a coin toss on that one. Either Inuyashiki or Gigant. You guys gotta suffer with me if it's Gigant.
Oh God.
Not saying it's a bad
It
manga.
doesn't matter to me either way. I mean, the whole point is just to kind of expose people to the content. I mean, that's
Exactly.
what it's really for.
Yes, we want
Exactly.
to.
I mean, you just basically have to suffer through it for only 20 minutes so that you actually can discuss it and be able to comparatively analyze it against something else. So,
Mhm.
yeah, it's not a big deal, guys. Like, I'm good either way.
Well, you're obviously an adult about it, whereas I don't know how Eloise would take it or
Oh well,
or
here, let me
Brian.
dox myself right now, and yeah. So the other day, yeah, no.
Or rather, I don't know if I can do this. This manga is weird, man.
It's weird, man. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
please,
Eloise impression.
if you think that's please just have him read Junji Ito, and he'll be yearning for the Disney experience that was Gigantic Key.
Oh jeez.
Or imagine if Leia was here with us today, or after reading Gigant.
Hello, this is your Lady of Valor.
Commander, can you walk me through this?
Commander!
What is going on in this story? Why is she naked all the time? Why is she so giant? Why is she with that evil boyfriend of hers? And why is this guy trying to learn to be an adult filmmaker?
Well, no.
Can I just say that I think she would love.
No. Well, see, what happened was I think that this is just because they voted Orange Man, and this is just revenge for
Or if it was Inuyashiki, I really don't understand what's going on with this story. There's so much to pick apart, and there's not enough information. It's like, oh, don't worry, Lady of Valor. We'll explain.
Right.
I'm just
Don't
gonna
worry.
say, though, I think Leia, though, all kidding aside, I think she'd love Claymore.
Mm-hmm. I think I'll have to.
Well, it's an
send it
easy
to her.
read. It reads pretty fast. I mean, so
Well,
if you're
this
looking to
is
get
another thing.
right into it, 20 minutes in, you're already well into the first act.
Speaking of Ito, she is enjoying the Ito stories. I think she has 3 favorites.
So anything that just goes right in, for me anyway, works. It's when you start getting into like these stories that just end up being so complex that to the point where for me, it's very easy to lose attention. That's why I usually find it very difficult to try to read any Star Trek EU novels, because they read like fanfics, and it's like you get bored real fast. So I have to
especially now because Star Trek EU fan novels are now becoming TV shows of their own. I mean, just look
Oh
at
yeah,
the
it's
cars.
something weird to see. Like Lower Decks is something that I never would have honestly thought would have been considered any type of content, let alone become its own little mini animated intellectual property. But here we are, where we have freaking not Phineas and Ferb, but like we've got what's his face? I can't think. Yeah, Rick and Morty with nacelles. It's like
Yeah.
that. It's like that was never Star
Well,
Trek.
and that's another
I'm
thing
not
that
a
bugs me is
purist
that
by any means.
everything is trying to be like Rick and Morty. I'm like, the only
Yeah,
reason
it's
why
like
it
these
worked
writers
for
and
Rick and Morty
producers.
was because Rick and Morty was made for that.
Well,
Okay,
here's
if you
my
don't
thing.
do
Like
Rick
a
and
lot of
Morty
these people,
Star Trek edition.
yeah, like a lot of these people freaking grew up with that mess. It's like that's great, but step into 2021. Like I'm glad you're living out your quote best life, but don't do it on someone else's intellectual property. Like, come on, get real.
I'm going to say this right now. If Gene Roddenberry knew what they were going to do with Star Trek, he would not have created it.
I'm pretty sure he would. He just want to make. He would have thought of making sure that anybody in his family
Right.
would pull it back
Mm-hmm.
if they were doing something elsewhere that they don't deem is Star Trek.
Mhm.
Well, that's the thing, though. I mean, not even something like Picard. That's not Star Trek.
It's
Sure as hell
really
not.
not. I mean,
It
yeah,
really isn't. Picard is not Star Trek.
it plays to a casual audience, but it's not really Star Trek because I mean, there's not a lot of referencing. To my knowledge, there's not a lot of referencing to the other series. Obviously,
you know what they're referencing? The only thing they reference is the Abrams Star Trek movie.
Because the Kelvin timeline more or less became the only thing that you could write anything off of because realistically, Star Trek was sold off in two separate parts. So, like with this Viacom merger or whatever, I mean, we were like, oh yeah, maybe now we can kind of start getting some actual true Star Trek because these weirdos freaking took the IP and did a freaking Sword of Solomon and freaking broke the baby in two. But yeah, so it's like, I mean, that's literally the only thing they could reference, which was 25% less Star Trek. But I mean, be realistic about it. Like, make it fun. The 2009 film was fun, but like after that.
And then after that, it's like, see, that's the thing that bothered me too, because everybody's always citing, we don't want to do more like Next Generation. We want to do more like DS9 or something like that. And I love DS9, but ultimately what DS9 was ended up dooming the franchise because everybody wanted to be DS9.
Well, here's my thing. DS9 was Babylon 5. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
to me, Babylon 5 was always more original than DS9.
Oh yeah, I even love the serialized stories of Babylon 5.
Mm-hmm.
I even thought that was kind of cool how they were doing that with DS9. But the thing is that it only worked on DS9. DS9, it only works in that context. But that's I think we got to do another stream of Star Trek, maybe.
Talking Star Trek.
Talking Trek.
Talking Trek. There you go.
Talking Trek, because the reason
you really want to do 3 hours of that?
Are you? The question is, do you want to do it?
No, because here's the thing. Like, I'm not trapped in like this, phantom zone where the only thing I can do is complain about how everything has been more or less co-opted by Marxists, and more or less what they're doing is
all right. Then
they're getting rid of intellectual properties to go ahead and substitute it with propaganda. But I mean, I'm always willing to talk about this stuff. It's just, to me,
we can take a break from it.
Yeah, like knowing how far we've come, like in terms of intellectual properties, like, comparatively, if there was something else that was coming out, I could see that. Like, what all we're getting is what Picard season 2, and
That's why I didn't
really
bring up
everybody
Hawkeye.
tuned out already. Like there's no interest in this IP. I mean, at this point, you know, they're just wasting everyone's time along. Well, Patrick Stewart already got paid, so I mean, you're not wasting his time.
Patrick
He got paid.
does not care about Star Trek anymore. He did his time. Now he's just looking to settle in for a paycheck.
Yeah. So I mean, to me, it's like, yeah, that's great, but Star Trek for me, more or less, kind of ended with Voyager and a little bit of Enterprise in there, and Enterprise
Mhm.
actually, like, I actually went ahead and saw Enterprise via Netflix. So
Mhm.
right when Enterprise starts to get really good, it gets canceled. So it's like,
I know.
okay, and it's like the last episode isn't really even that good, you know.
No, because they were trying to. I don't know what they were trying to do, but yeah, that wasn't good.
Well, it was supposed to be more like These Are the Voyages. You know, it's supposed to be quote unquote a love letter to the series, but I'm like, the series hasn't been around long enough to pick up a strong following. I mean, and to be perfectly honest, it's like your only series that actually has a vocal track laid onto its theme, which to me was terrible. It was a terrible idea to begin with, but okay, cool, whatever. You know, it's in terms of like who you could have brought on, I had no problem, you know, watching Scott Bakula, but to me, I could have done with, you know, someone else. I mean, you kind of get settled into Scott Bakula as Captain Archer later on, but
Mhm.
I mean, the characters were all right, but they weren't necessarily compelling, if you will. Probably the most compelling character, if at all, was maybe T'Pol. Um, I mean, yeah, you did
We're on the
have,
fun part of the stream, guys. So if anybody who's still here, I know the count is 0, but if anybody is still here,
You know
you
what?
know,
I say we just do it for posterity purposes.
No,
Okay.
you just want to talk about Star Trek to hear me complain
No,
about Star Trek.
I'm actually
Like,
changing. I'm actually changing the subject
oh yeah.
because Star Trek. We're going to be here for hours and hours on end, and we are supposed to be talking about Claymore.
Well, I mean, we're already at the top of the 3rd hour, so I mean, do we
But
really
I'm
need to
curious.
talk about Claymore? Like to me, like Claire comes off very stiff, but to be perfectly honest, I think that has more to do with the fact that she's half Yoma more than anything.
Yeah.
So I mean, I subsequently will find that out in subsequent chapters, but I'm like, okay, it's just like any other, you know, any other manga story. It plays a certain way, you know, just like, you know, Dominic was saying, you know, it's your traditional 4-act arc, if you will. It's not like we meet the main villain in the 1st act, and then we get the big reveal in the 2nd act, and then of course we get the twist at the end.
What I think is actually kind of interesting in this series. I mean, it's a minor spoiler, but doesn't reveal anything. The villain is actually revealed via flashback, and then it's dropped. So now we see a character motivation. Okay, we see that a character has a enemy. Okay,
Oh, yeah.
almost like a plot device.
A plot device, and then it's dropped. Okay, we now see. Okay, this is what Claire is searching for, and then right then and there, you can say it's a filler, but it's clear that you learn more about the organization and how the organization no longer wants. Excuse me. The organization no longer wants to rely on Claire's type of Claymore anymore. It's like we're updating and we're advancing and we're modernizing our weapons.
We're updating, we're modernizing our IPs.
That's
exactly what it is. I mean,
actually, surprisingly, as much as oversimplified as that is, you're kind of correct because they want to employ fewer claymores but more efficient claymores.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Like,
you're only saying this because Dominic's not here.
Entertainment right now, like they don't want to have complex storylines. They don't want to be, and when I say they, I mean your normal writers. You know, in terms of you hire someone and now they're stuck having to go through hours and hours and hours of this stuff. Okay,
well, that's the thing,
you could be the best writer. You could be the best writer that money can buy, but if you're not familiar with intellectual property, you're stuck with a mountain of hours of actual study. Or sometimes what happens is you actually will get like a packet of like information, the Cliff Notes version of it, if you will. You will get that.
Well, that's the thing that I like about Claymore is that, okay, if you're not hooked by the first 4 volumes, then, or first 4 chapters, then there's nothing we can do, because we've basically given you character, we've given you motivation, we've given you story, and now we're moving on. And I love that bit because the next chapter does focus on the plot, because what happens is Dominic still here, Wolf?
No.
Oh, okay. So spoiler alert, the next arc, I guess you can say, focuses on Claire on a mission, and she starts awakening. This is really where the quote-unquote plot comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Where the plot finally starts coming in, and they start learning that the organization employing these claymores is realizing that the claymores are becoming a little too powerful for them, and they're getting a little scared of them.
Mm-hmm.
So they decide to put them all on a suicide mission. And you learn more about the organization as time goes on. You learn that there's a number system, and the number system, number 1 is clearly the most powerful, and yada, yada, yada. And you learn what Claire's number is in the organization. She's number 47? 42. 42. I should have known that. It's the answer to the ultimate question. 42. Oh my God. That's what Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy was saying. Claire is the answer to the question, to the ultimate question. Is the question.
I could be wrong, by the way.
Yep. The answer is simply, what number is Claire in the organization? 42. Anyway, that was funny. But you learn that she's number 42, and she's being the weakest of the other claymores. And then you learn that there's a few claymores actually go rogue. She and Rocky are separated, and from there on, it becomes Claire's story. And
as it's always been, but still.
As it's always been. But the thing that I like about the series is that Rocky is clearly meant to be the audience, as I said behind the backstage. Rocky is meant to be the audience insert, and once you got everything that you can, the audience now has all the information. You can now put the focus on Claire, but what this series does that's really smart, instead of just going the lazy route and kill off Rocky, for dramatic purposes, they decide to give Rocky a little bit of an identity. He now comes into his own. He has his own character motivations and stuff like that. You learn that Rocky wants to be a swordsman. He wants to fight the Yoma, to be similar, emulate like Claire. Problem is that, and you learn this through dialogue, obviously, but he gets kidnapped by slavers. He escapes, okay, and I love that because it shows that he's actually self-sufficient. He escapes, runs into these 2 other characters, and, one of them is a very skilled swordsman, and Rocky asks, hey, can you train me? And the swordsman's like going, yeah, sure, no problem. And then for a long time, we don't see Rocky. You're like wondering, where's Rocky? Hey, where's Rocky? And you're reading the story, you're learning about Claire, you find out what's going on with her, the organization, and we get a whole mess of other characters, which I love. And some of them are really spectacular. My new favorite one of my favorite characters, beautiful, well drawn, very organic. One of the best characters created was Galatea. Very cool character. If you read the stories, you'll find out more about her. But it's fun, and that's how you do it. This is how you write an ensemble cast, and this is how you write characters. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, if more people read manga, maybe they could actually get some. It's like, because this is what SJ hobos and the woke ideologues are looking for, Claymore, and this appeals to everybody. But they're not going to do it. Even men. That's another thing too. Most people even forget that She-Ra was created because girls were watching He-Man. but kind of I figured it balanced out.
It did, kind of.
With this case with Claymore, it balances out. There's something here for men, and there's something here for women. And
So what content are we going to be returning to in the future for WCR? What you guys are up for?
Okay, wow. I definitely want to do more of these manga rewrites. We can even do Claymore volumes.
Manga studies too, yeah.
Manga studies. We can do Claymore 5, 6, 7, and 8. I'd be fine with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
Really? You don't have to you keep reading?
No, like I said, I don't think of it one way or another. I mean, it's what's the best way to put it?
I got nothing better
By
to do.
the 4th chapter, I didn't mind reading more because it read so quickly, and it's terrible. But I mean, it's a fast read, so I was like, okay, well, I don't mind finding out a little more. I mean, I'm sure that if I were to read more of it, I could find something to be invested in. But again, being raised on Western entertainment, getting into this type of stuff has always been like something that's always been a little harder. Obviously, I don't tend to think of Power Rangers as Eastern entertainment, because of course it was, not only was it dubbed, it was also, acted with an ensemble cast, for, the young Western audience. So stuff like that, stuff like Voltron, I never really equated. Anytime we get entertainment from overseas, for a Western audience, like usually I don't typically equate that to, oh yeah, that's like anime. Oh yeah, that's like manga. I don't necessarily put those two together.
Right.
It's maybe when you get something like Demon Slayer, or if you get something again like Ponyo or anything like that, where literally you're in the theater and you're reading subtitles and stuff like that. Like, okay, a good example in terms of film would be Hero, where it was just straight to Western theaters with just subtitles. I mean, that to me, I'm like, okay,
you got something against the Jet of Lee?
not really. But that film was one of those things that plays like, because I went ahead and I went all out of my way to collect some Jet Li films. So that was one of the few that I actually went all out of my way to buy and then watch. But with like that film, it plays, honestly, the easiest way I can equate this to something, something that's anime or whatnot, it all tends to play like a Yu-Gi-Oh episode, is to me.
Okay.
It all tends to play like a freaking Yu-Gi-Oh like episode. Oh, I already knew from the very beginning, so I was going to counter your counter with the counter of your counter's counter. It's like, oh.
Right.
8,000 points. It's like, oh, Lord. It's like, I got to turn this off.
or even Naruto.
Like, Yu-Gi-Oh episodes were always very annoying. That is something I did not watch, but my brother was.
They always tend to pull out something out of convenience.
Yeah.
There's always a day. Almost every single duel has a Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah. Exactly. It's like, I was going to win from the very beginning. But
or like they act so surprised and then they pull out their trap card. Like, you have activated my trap.
I'm like, oh my god, who's gonna watch this?
It's like why are you acting so concerned in the first place?
Pokemon, you got like cute little animals, kids can get into, and they do like these little cutesy tricks and stuff like that.
Digimon only did that thing one time, one time in one episode, and that was when Edamon came back in his mega form, Meta Edamon, and right after he Dominic's back. Spoilers are in. Anyways, I was talking about the Digimon episode where Edamon and had became Meta Edamon versus what was Saber Leomon's Saber Leomon. He already put him out for the count.
Right.
And and what was his name? Ikakumon's ultimate form strikes him with that hammer that comes with his Digimon form, his
Mhm.
ultimate form, and like Meta Enemon is like, you can't strike my armor form because it's made out of digitonium. It's like, well, that's funny because my hammer is made of digitonium, and suddenly his armor start cracking, and that's where
Um,
Saber Leomon just finishes him off because of that weak spot. I was like, okay, that's weird. I'm like, so
well,
your
what a
hammer is made of a hmm?
convenient way to end the fight.
Right? So I'm just like sitting here
But
like an
I thought
ultimate
it
was able to scratch a mega, and the mega still finished them off, but it should have been the mega was able to finish off the other mega.
Right.
It's funny because they pull like I doubt that's what the sub says, and that was just
it
a
kind
dub.
Yeah, it's sometimes it's
Or
of
like
easier
reminds
just to
me of
watch.
this. Kind of reminds me of this British sci-fi show I used to watch, Red Dwarf. Love that
oh
show.
yeah,
Yeah.
or
There's
like oh I'm
there's a
sorry
scene.
I take that back. I take that back. There were two instances, but that was the more infamous one, the digitonium thing. One episode was this was like the final this is like the last appearance of Metal Seadramon, which was also a mega form of Seadramon, and they build up War Greymon as the Draymon Destroyer, and
Mm,
that's ultimately what, like, before he couldn't even touch Metal Seadramon, and
Hmm.
now suddenly he could by using his spin drill attack, going right through the Digimon, out one end, out the other, in one way, out the other. And I was like, as cool as that looked, what was the use of that story about War Greymon? That's all I'm asking. Like what was the point of that legend? Because he's
what
the
was the
only.
point?
I'm
What
saying like Agumon was
did it all mean? What was
I'm
it all
saying
for?
they're speaking of a specific War Greymon, but I'm thinking like Agumon's the only one that turned into War Greymon. Hey Matthew, by the way. But yeah, he's the only Agumon that transforms into War Greymon. So I'm like, why is there such a legend built around a War Greymon? Because there's like a lot of Agumons out there. Because you already see a lot of Coromon, so obviously they're eventually going to digivolve into Agumon, which will
Hmm.
digivolve to Greymon, and so on and so forth. Of course, he only goes to War Greymon because he has a Digidestin. But
Hmm.
obviously, there's ways of them to get to that form in their own way.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, they put some lore into this show, and I'm saying like, what was the significance of him being the Draymond Destroyer in the first place? Because he could like, if he's supposed to be the legendary Draymond, like, this is how my Westerner mind thinks. It's like when you make a big deal about a title for a
Mm-hmm.
character, that means they're gonna kick some ass now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're gonna kick some serious major booty because now
Boutte.
they're
Boutte.
yeah, hey, but like they're coming into their own now. They're now realizing what their identity is. They realize the power that they hold. Like like King Arthur Pendragon taking the sword. Now he's powerful. Or Batman when he puts on his mantle, or Superman when he puts on his super suit. You know what I'm saying? That's where they go kick some ass.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, whenever time the moment I heard, he's the Draymond Destroyer, I'm like, oh, so you're gonna kick some ass now.
Mm-hmm.
But before then, this enemy you couldn't even touch. And now suddenly you can touch him because you got a new title. That's funny. I wish we would have had this reveal way earlier before we had the Dark Masters pop in, because at
Hmm.
least yeah, he's still a Draymond Destroyer, but he still has a challenge to face.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Or at least give us a bit of a mythical backstory that shows War Greymon destroying Draymond.
Oh, that would be interesting.
A lot of things I could throw at Digimon that they kind of screwed over a bit, especially the one
Mm-hmm.
with Kari being this pseudo goddess to this
Oh,
other dimension.
oh Lord.
Yeah, it's gonna. You know what I'm talking about in
Oh,
season 2,
Uh-huh.
where at the end of that enrolls a Lovecraftian looking creature, and they don't say it's a Digimon.
Mm-hmm.
They really don't say it's a Digimon. It may sound like it, but I meant kick. I have a, I forgive me, Yao, for any future watchers. I have a speech impediment. I have an overbite, and it tends to make my lips rub together a bit when I talk. So you guys know I tend to speak and mumble sometimes,
Yeah.
and that's usually because my lips tend to, as I'm talking, my lips rub together and make me say something else
Oof.
or make
I
it sound like I
That
said
is
something else.
not a visual I needed.
Fuck you.
But speaking of like, that was
Could have
funny
been
because
worse. I could have talked to
Like
the things
speaking of lips rubbing together, like, but
I know. Yeah, right.
right.
well, that's the difference between Eastern and Western storytelling. I feel Eastern
Yeah.
storytelling is dealing with more of the internal problems with the characters, whereas Western storytelling it's always external problems.
Right.
And usually in Eastern storytelling, the the internal problems that they're dealing with becomes personified when they're dealing with an external force. Like for example, I mean, it wasn't explained so much in Claymore. I mean, just getting back on topic here, but not on topic. Just
We're in the
relating
free. We're in the free.
relating to the topic. That's what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
Relating it to Claymore is that we do realize that Claire has some deeply rooted trauma and she hates Yoma. It's clear that she does not like Yoma because a Yoma took her life from her. Later on, we discover that this is also very much this is they then enhance it because it's like, yeah, she does hate Yoma, but she hates a specific Yoma more than just regular Yoma.
Be careful, Dominic's still here.
I know, but that's as far as I go. But again, she has her internal problem is that she can't seem to let go. That's what it is, and it is personified with every Yoma that she fights, especially in chapter 2 when they said, "Well, people are going to die," and she's like going, "Well, then I can't have that," and she just goes and she fights the multiple Yomas.
Mm-hmm.
She drops everything what she's doing on her agenda just to protect humanity, and you never hear her complain about it.
No, that's an aspirational hero, by the way.
It's like the more I try to protect the humanity, it's like the more she eludes me. No, she's actually just protecting humanity, period. And she knows that these hunts will eventually lead her to that specific target because either way, she's still a Yoma.
Mm-hmm.
Oop, I just revealed the gender. Okay, whatever.
Oh, that doesn't matter. I mean, we always talk about everything in male gender, so it's like, well, except in 2021 when it's now,
You gotta be this and not cis.
easier.
Oh my God, you're gonna love this. So remember I told you guys I have Hulu, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So Why the Last Man comes up finally on my
oh God, that stuff.
and it says
My PS4 is advertising it. I'm just like,
yeah. And the info says after a plague wipes out the Y chromosome, a cisgender man. Okay, it says that a cisgender man.
Nasty.
And I'm just like, and like that, you've lost me. Oh my God!
This cisgender man is also not a white man, so why would you even label him that? Oh, right, because he's a man.
Oh my God! And apparently, I've been looking up information on this show. Yeah, they have created a transgender character specifically for this show. Even though in Why the
most
Last
of those transgender will be dead anyways, so
yes, and they actually did say that. They actually said that transgenders with the Y chromosome died. Even women who didn't know they had a Y chromosome died.
Oh,
that's stupid.
Lord.
That
And
ain't pop. Wait, Hank, back the Charlie up.
Oh yeah.
They have XY chromosome. That's not how.
uh,
That's not how that virus works.
the tallywhack between your legs wasn't a clue. Like I don't understand. You know, no
No.
comprende.
This is
No
what they're
comprende. Does not
what they're
compute.
trying. What they're trying to state that they're trying to push this narrative that women can also be born trans.
Error does not compute.
Well,
That's
look,
what they're saying. Like
creating a
that's how I'm taking from that line. Even women who do not know they have Y chromosomes, I'm like, bullshit. That's how that works.
I'm just saying, I'm not against a transgender character, but I want a faithful adaptation here, not we're mostly following.
I would be only because it promotes that behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of had this argument with Alois on on an earlier stream where a lot of this stuff, yeah, it does not impact you directly, but you do have to put some brakes onto it, because if you do not, then it just perpetuates this thing that just makes it okay to go ahead and practice this type of deviancy that
And that's what I was telling her.
ultimately leads to more unhappiness. And that's
I'm just saying.
It's kind of what entertainment wants. Like, they want you to believe, oh yeah, men can also get pregnant.
Men can also breastfeed. Fuck
Yeah, I'm getting horrible video flashbacks. Stop! No.
Yeah. So at one point, as a cisgender male, you have to put your foot down and be like, all right, that's enough. Knock it off.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
look, I'm all for you pursuing a lifestyle, but man,
your own house. Now that's slightly a bit communist, because I'm saying do it within the confines of your home. But at the same time, it's one of these things that we're normalizing this type of stuff, that it's now starting to.
That ass will be my wife, by the way, Matthew.
They're pushing it into the entertainment to normalize it, so it's like this little, self-feeding feedback loop. So
it's self-defeating, if you want my honest opinion.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
You're basically giving me the rope to hang you with.
Yeah, more or less. And
then they say, "How dare you hang me from this rope?
How dare you? How
dare you hang me from this rope?
How dare you?
I ask the question though, and this makes me ask the question: how are you still talking? I just hung you from a rope.
Yeah.
This disobeys the laws of physics. Now, can you please
I agree.
us?
And can you please back up out my damn face?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Pretty much.
I mean, it's only a matter of time before entertainment, as well as comics book entertainment in general as well. If we're talking about just entertainment in general, I should say, before they start injecting these quote transnormative characters.
Can I just say this though? Even if we give them transnormative characters, they will not be happy.
Mm-mm.
They won't be happy because
there's always another mountain. There's always another mountain. That's what I like about these nursery rhymes. Nursery rhymes are literally for that. They're to teach you stories.
Trust me. Ask the black community. When have they ever been really happy about any? I'm like, dude, am I like one of the few bastion of black folk that actually am happy that the magical Negro exists? You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
I'm like, bro, you and worse, you're not even happy about the white savior. So like, bro, which one you want? Because at least when it comes to me, when I look at the magical Negro, I'm like, oh, that's nice to know that the white man came looking for my help. You know what I'm saying? That's how I perceive it when every time I see the magical Negro. I'm like, yeah, I would love to see white people come looking for us for help.
Some people, I think what you're trying to say, Wolf, is that at least people can see. There are people who are trying to see the silver lining.
Mm-hmm. And that's not me just trying to take the silver lining. It's more of if I want to be look, all I'm saying is I'd rather that than just us coming to them for help all the damn time. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If anything, I'm like, bro, what's so wrong with the magical Negro? It's like what you saying the magical Negro ain't got no agency, bro? I'm saying that as I'm looking again, like I said, I'm looking at that as well. I'm sure as hell happy that I see a white man asking a black man for help for once instead of a black man looking for a white man help.
Oh goodness.
I'm also going to do this too, Trooper. I disagree with how we are going. Like, it's going to be really bad from here on out because
I mean, you have to put your foot down. I mean, I know that I know it's very easy to be optimistic, and you can't. No one says you can't, but you have to be one of the few
look at what's coming out right.
Put your foot down and say, "Knock it off." That's enough. You know, it's like
Well, people are saying, "Knock it off," and I'm glad about that.
Well, Elder.
But, we're seeing a movement of people who are fighting back, and they're doing it without the help of the mainstream press, without a voice on the internet, without anything that these liberal ideologues have. And I got to give them credit because this is a literal David versus Goliath, and we are seeing victories here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, small ones.
Which they don't. They never take the W's. They always say they are struggling. It's like, bitch, you took over a multi-million-dollar company and freaking screwed up all other IPs, and you're still ain't happy. Okay.
Exactly.
You got more. You got more women. You got more women in unearned positions in the entertainment industry, and you're still unhappy. You got more minorities in the unearned entertainment positions. Did I say that right?
Yep.
I don't care. I'm making a point here. And you're still not happy. You're still you're always talking about something. We're still struggling. There's still systemic racism. There's still systemic oppression. I'm like, bitch, go somewhere and be happy.
The thing. You say you're still not happy. I think they are happy, but they're only happy when they're mad.
Well, the way I look at it is they're only happy when they're making your life miserable.
Right.
Oh my God! That's the key. That's the key. Show them that you're not pissed off.
Yeah. It seems to be an overarching theme. That's why I say, people have to get away from complaining about what's going on with modern culture because that's kind of where they want you. So.
Oh my God! I got it. I have it right now. I got it right now. Wolf 10, bringing it back again to the subject of Claymore. You can sell Claymore when we start making our pilot. We're going to say, we're going to have very nice and well-diverse. It's going to have a very nice and well-diverse cast. Yeah, and they say, oh, really? Oh, yeah, we got Europeans, we got Netherlands, we got British, we got Alaskan, we got all of it. And we reveal.
Go ahead.
And then we just reveal that it's just a simple storytelling feature. And it's like, where's the where's the wokeism? It's right here. Can't you see it? It's lying. It's the Emperor's New Clothes. It's like, it's right here. Can't you see it? Are you not a believer? Oh no. I see it. Oh, there it is.
I want to believe.
I want to believe.
My life has been reduced to freaking shopping on Etsy for freaking COVID rags. It's terrible.
I'm just saying that, if you're going to do a live action Claymore, which
you just got to go out there and do it.
Just do it. Yeah, exactly. That's how you tick them off. Just basically say, all right, I'm going to do exactly what you told me to do. And then don't do it in the way that they want you to do, but claim I did it exactly the way you told me to.
Yeah.
Well, truth be told, I'm just like, well, who said you were the target audience?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
This isn't made for you.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah, my phone. Yeah, my phone previously died. So I had to charge it back up.
Oh wow.
Oh, I hate it when that happens.
You're gonna be another Eloise shoe-in?
No, I'm back for real.
Okay. You missed quite quite a bit, or at least you heard pretty much a lot of things. But that's what I would say to them. Well, I'm afraid you're just not the targeted audience. Then you can go somewhere else, though.
Which then backfires because then the audience will gravitate towards like the work that is catered to the general audience and not just this specific small one.
Look, buddy. Look, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm pretty sure you were there when I made that epic rant. That was the first time I made Trooper laugh the loudest and the longest.
I mean, well, you're not exactly wrong because you can't satisfy everybody.
I said that in front of Ishii. Ishii was right. Well, Ishii did agree with what I was saying. He's like you were right, Wolf 10. Like it's not your job to satisfy that individual. It's like, yeah, my job is to sell. Now, if you don't buy the product, okay, you don't like my product. That's it. But anybody else, they're gonna talk. The only time I'll ever listen to the customer, and the customer is always right, is if there's something wrong, physically wrong with the product. If sex, like going back to the dolls thing and the toys and all that stuff, if toys are causing hives on the children, yes, we will do something about that. Recall that and check out the material. If we're getting like a hives outbreak with the children and it's coming from our toys, we're gonna recall that, dispose of them, and invest into a new material for the toys. That's the only time I'm changing anything about my product. If say for instance, if our freaking I don't know, teleprojector or something is failing to display, we will recall them, much like what Xbox did with their Xbox 360. Microsoft did with their Xbox 360, and fix that shit when they kept showing the red ring of death. Remember that? That's how I operate as a business. I'm not supposed to put no trans baby on my motherfucking Xbox. I'm sorry. That's up to y'all if y'all want to paint y'all shit and put some stickers on it. But I'm not supposed to be structuring my shit to look like your ass. Nor am I going to be putting a person like you in my stories. That's my decision if I want that.
Oh my God! Make a game system that looks like an ass, and if anybody makes a problem with it, just say, "Hey, that's ass shaming."
Right. Or better yet, if I really want to be really, really fucking cheeky, I'll make a damn game system look like a fucking vagina.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
Oh my gosh.
And if they pre-order early, they get a dildo.
Oh my God!
Wow.
I don't care if it's male or female. That you get a dildo with your pre-order.
Oh my God! You went there. I was just making simply butt humor. You went there.
I'm surprised Victoria Fagbauer ain't here telling song. Dang it, Wolf, I'm eating.
Oh my God.
Like the last time I said anything about vagina, she's like, dang it, Wolf, I'm eating.
Oh God.
I only know one did a spit take, at least to our knowledge.
I'm pretty sure you did one of those in one of my shows. You know, you weren't on here, but I'm just saying, I'm pretty sure you probably did that. He's like, this guy is crazy.
This is how the streams go. We go from legitimate talk to crazy talk. I love it.
Mm-hmm. Especially if you hang around me long enough, you pretty much get used to it. That's pretty much what you guys say to every recruit that joins us. Like, you'll get used to it.
Yeah, I pretty much expected that the moment I decided to like jump into a live stream for real.
You can thank the Hodge twins for that one. They encourage me. They inspire me. Baka laka laka, ducker ducker ducker.
It's pretty much it. I mean, it's what it sounds like.
Baka laka laka. Speaking of Baka Laka Laka, I actually watched Team America World Police last night, man.
My God, what's the thing?
That shit still holds up, man.
Oh yeah, it does.
Bro, y'all remember Fag in that one?
Yes, the Film Actors Guild.
I
That
really wish we were not living in the time period we're living in right now because, dude, the moment I hear Alec Baldwin talk, I was like, oh my goodness, it's the fucking liberals.
mhm.
Yeah. That's why I can't watch a lot of that stuff. Like,
Because it came true.
well, that and it's like, I've never had a problem with people and their life choices outside of their
Hmm.
work. That's why I don't really care what Amber Heard does, and everyone's like, "Well, she abused Johnny Depp," and I'm like, "Well, he needed to grow a pair." Like I
Yep.
care. Like we're talking about Life of Millionaires. I don't care. So for
Mhm.
I'll never
me,
watch anything with her in it anymore, but I don't care.
so
At
for
the end of
me,
the day, I don't care anymore.
it's like Amber Heard is Mara. So to take her out of the next Aquaman film would be kind of stupid because you'd be
No,
recasting
no,
it with someone who'd be even like who might be an even more subpar female actress, and it's
are you
always
kidding me? I got the perfect best Queen Mira right there, and she's a million times better than Amber Heard. Throw in Rosario Dawson.
But the
She
problem
would
is,
make a great
they
Queen
already
Mira.
cast this freaking character, so it's like you've already made her.
Now y'all care about continuity with
Now,
actors and
why do
actresses.
you care about
Yeah, I do
continuity?
somewhat. Yeah, I do somewhat. But
Me too, but I'm like after a while, I'm like I got over that shit, and but like I
but
said,
again, I
now
don't
y'all
care.
care
I
about
don't
it,
care if a woman takes a turd on a man's bed. Again,
right?
you're a weak man to begin with for letting that shit happen. Like
Oh
again,
yeah, somebody. Okay, first off, if a woman takes a dump in my bed, I'm dumping in her makeup kit.
right? So so I mean, again, it's one of these things where I don't care. So it's
What?
like, I mean, if you're gonna do that, freaking
Matthew, one of these days, you're gonna have to be on this again. Look at what he said.
Oh jeez.
Why?
One of the oldest jokes.
my problem is, it's like, okay, so let's say you do actually replace Amber Heard. Who are you gonna replace her with? Emilia Clarke? Anything that she ends up being in freaking tanks. Nothing
Hmm.
against her as an actress. They just freaking always miscast her. They just always do. Like, I'm sure she's a great actress, but every time they give her a part, it's some bum part. Freaking, what was it? Terminator Genesis freaking was a freaking
She was not
was a
good
hot
for it.
mess. Even though
Can I just say?
she kind
Can I
of
just?
got you know freaking Sarah Connor down, but what, she was in Solo, that didn't do well either. I mean, again, you start putting her list of projects, they're pretty bad.
And her
So
book is stupid.
Can I just say though? Can I just say
Hmm.
that Terminator Genesis is? I would rather take that film over Terminator Dark Fate any day.
anybody would take anything over
And the actress
Peter
who
Parker.
plays that cyborg bitch in Dark Fate, I actually liked her in freaking 2049.
Yeah,
But,
me too.
but what I'm getting at, it's like, that's why I hate when they do these freaking substitutions. It's like, look, you already made the frappuccino. It's like, I don't need it. I don't need a different flavored frappuccino because you got it
Right.
wrong the first or second time. It's like,
I guess you could say you don't like Mark Ruffalo as Bruce Banner, anyways.
no, that was, dude, that was a total.
I mean,
I
they
could
should've
go
used
on,
him more,
and this is why I don't like getting into these type of discussions, because I could go on about that. Like, Mark Ruffalo as an actor, he's not that great.
Nope.
No, he's not.
He's like a terrible actor. His political views are on the extreme. I don't care if he wants to go, hug, an underwater basket weaver and help them out. I don't care. That's fine. He has gotten involved in some projects, against fracking and stuff like that. Hey, cool, whatever. Do it, whatever it is you do. My whole point is we were already on a different trajectory with Ed Norton. Ed Norton likes
Hmm.
to be Ed Norton. Ed Norton likes to be very involved in his characters. I mean, some actors are, some are not. My whole point is we already had an established character, and then we go ahead and we replace him with a dude that's been in a freaking chick flick with Reese Witherspoon. I mean, you kind of lost my respect there. It's like, it's
I
like,
never even knew he was in Bridges. in those type of movies.
Oh yeah, it's freaking. I'll get to a title here.
Well, you don't need to. I don't care.
Oh no, I do because
Oh, go ahead.
yeah, it was 2005, Just Like Heaven.
Just like heaven.
Basically, Reese Witherspoon's character goes into a coma, and from what I know,
Oh, that one.
yeah,
The
that
one where she's a ghost.
yeah. Only
I know
because
he
I
was in
follow
that one.
numbers a lot. So this thing had a budget of 58 million. It grossed 102 million. So technically, it was well received. It made its money back, but it did not make more than. I mean, it was considered commercially acceptable, but it didn't shake the box office. Let's leave it at that. So.
Yeah, I want to know what Amelia Clark's premise for her comic book that she commissioned.
What is it? That's is it the super? Is it the female character with the freaking armpit
and
hair?
I love to.
Is
but
that
I
the one
hate
we're
my
talking
period.
about?
God.
Is that
That's
the
the
one we're
premise.
talking about?
Yep.
Yo, that's yeah, basically.
Okay.
Summed up in that one clip.
Mm-hmm.
Summed up in that one clip.
I love how they keep shifting the numbers on Shang-Chi. Like, I keep looking at the stuff, and they keep freaking fudging the numbers. I'm like, I give up. I'm like, it's a trash film. If you're going to go see it, you're just part of the problem. And if you're just going to go see it to, quote, review it, you're still part of the problem. So,
yeah.
But so far, what is it? It's, when did this thing open? It opened on the 5th? God, it feels like it's been forever.
I hardly noticed that
I
it
mean,
opened up. I was like, Shang-Chi's still out? What?
well, it feels like a month, but it hasn't been a month.
What'd you say, Dominic?
I'm saying Shang-Chi is still out, and I was invited to see the movie with my uncle and cousins. And after we watch it, I took some time to to stew over it. And after a day or two, I pretty much give it I give it a 7 out of 10. It's not the worst, but it's not the best MCU movie either. Cause I was disappointed as a comic book fan that they didn't include like his rogues gallery or supporting characters. Besides, as well, can't use Fu Manchu because in the Marvel universe,
You racist bastard!
Shang-Chi is the son of Fu Manchu.
Well, yeah, they didn't even give the audience Fu Manchu. They gave them sort of Fu Manchu and sort of Fing Fang Foom. That's it.
You get a pass because somebody invited you. You didn't actually pay for it.
What about Bow Chicka Wow Wow?
Oh wow.
And we still didn't get the Mandarin.
No. Yeah, you're not gonna get
Never. Even though they were complaining about that shit in Iron Man 2, they still didn't even deliver on that shit. Okay. I guess we did got over it at some point. Even though I wasn't really looking for that kind of Mandarin.
If you're still investing your money in MCU films, you have a problem. You know, it's
right.
like you need to just admit to the problem, work on your addiction, and find yourself a sponsor, and then go through your recovery phase.
Hi, I'm A. Hi A, and I have an MCU addiction. So do we. MCU Anonymous.
Actually, so far, WandaVision and Shang-Chi are the only two that I've seen from Phase 4 because I've been actively keeping myself away from it because I knew that it was not going to end well. Well, for more.
Oh yeah, I agree. Like I dipped out after WandaVision. That was it. Like I allegedly found myself a bootleg with all the episodes and just called it a year.
I pretty much was already just firmly against watching anything after Endgame.
Well, again, everything ended in Infinity War. Again, it's like buying Captain Marvel on disc and Endgame on disc is just literally to complete the whole decade of films. Just to have.
Like I said, I'm like I only gleamed at Far From Home.
Let's put it this way.
That don't count me watching it.
Black Widow has already hit the retail shelves, and I'm definitely not looking to buy it. Even for the cover art at this point, I'm not looking to buy it. Should I? I don't know. I mean, I like slipcovers. I just do. But you know, it's
Should have gone Black Widow as the in between. Instead, Marvel Studios gave us Captain Marvel.
well,
Should have gave us.
everyone complains about that. My whole point is this. It's trying to more or less retcon the first 10 years. Obviously, did not go well. So they're not ultimately they're not going to do any more self-insertion films like Black Widow.
Nope. That was a
Black Widow.
self-indulgent. That was
Black
a
Widow in and of
self-indulgent.
itself, that particular film, that's fine if you want to tell that story, but it should have been it should have been inside the Soul Stone.
Yeah.
And that would have been more of a continuity as to the character waking up to the fact that, you know, they're trapped in the Soul Stone and now it's time to get out. So that would have been fantastic because that lets you know that the character still exists. The character may be back at a later time.
And not only that, that's also how you can really I mean, they say, oh, where can you go now after the Infinity Stone? Well, it's pretty simple. You do Infinity Stone versus Infinity Stone.
Yeah, like, yeah, my
Reality versus soul.
My whole point is this, is you can always have side storylines that don't necessarily conflict with your main story. There's nothing that says you can't do that. However, the way they did this is they tried to inject a story with agenda into an already established timeline that we already know is canon. Oh, well, now we're going to do a flashback film. Okay, well, the character's kind of dead. So unless the character's going to find a way to undead herself, you know, it's like, come on, get real. Like, I mean, how stupid do you... Well, actually, no, they do think the audience is stupid. And the audience is stupid because, I mean, hello, so far, their audience base has shelled out $208 million. So how idiots idiots actually are out there? I mean, these are the same idiots that still, you know, think that by somehow following this stuff, and I'm not saying that they have, you know, franchise worship. What I'm saying is, you know, people that are still willing to be entertained by this stuff and still want to shill for it are only causing the problem at this point. Or it's like if people literally stopped going to see this stuff, hey, guess what? They might actually have to churn out content. They don't have to because the audience is baked in. So,
well, you know, that's the thing that kills me is that they're losing the audience baked in because of trying to get new audience. So the audience is kind of no longer being baked in. The audience baked in is kind of seeping out.
Well, no, you're still going to get the people that are still willing to see it. I mean, you're still going to get the casual viewer that has no idea of what's going on. You know,
let me address Matthew Flynn real quick.
Yeah.
Well, I don't got no PS4 or PS5, so no harm, no foul on my end. I'm not buying that shit anyways. If I did, I'd rather get the original God of War trilogy and many of its other spin-offs.
I'm looking forward to God of War Ragnarok, and I'm looking forward to...
No judgment from me.
I know we're getting another Spider-Man installment.
Yeah.
And then
yeah, I actually think that was pretty. I did see the trailer. I thought it was pretty awesome. That
I saw the PlayStation.
It looks pretty awesome that we're getting Kraven the Hunter. I thought that was cool.
I think that's pretty cool.
And Venom.
And then there's what else? There was another game that I was kind of hyped for. I think it has to do with World of Darkness. I keep forgetting. It's like either Blood Tribe, Blood Hunt, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but it literally is based on the World of Darkness. So I mean, you have your Toreador, you have your Bruja, you have your. I mean, they leave. Okay, this is my only criticism on that. Is they leave it open enough to go ahead and create subsequent installments if it's a successful game. My problem is you have 12 vampire tribes to choose from. You don't necessarily always have to start with the most notable vampire tribes. They're not the best ones out there. Like, okay, so you're injecting the Bruja into this. Okay, they're a bunch of vampire anarchists. Why are we even bringing them in? That would be for maybe like a part 2 or a part 3. The Nosferatu, that's fine. That's your typical, vampire or whatever. Sure, that's your typical vampire trope, whatever. But we're bringing in the freaking Toreador. they are not known as freaking assassins. If you want to do that, by all means, freaking bring in the Assamites if you really want to. Which, I mean, I know I'm getting too far niche into this kind of stuff, but I mean, there's other vampire tribes. You don't necessarily
All I'm
always have to
saying
start with
is that's
the
something
main
you're
one.
going to discuss some other time. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Um,
I do.
World of Darkness is it's role play. It's RPG.
Yeah,
Like
I know.
Action
Troy would
RPG.
know more about it because it's more from Troy's time than anything.
Right.
Back when tabletop games were more or less going into the D&D type of gameplay, and
Hmm.
that was kind of making its thing.
There are a lot of tabletop role playing games now that are reminiscent of D&D.
Yeah, and so actually, what was it? It was freaking Aaron Spelling. More, he didn't tie himself to this, but through Aaron Spelling, what we ended up getting was Kindred, which was like, I think it was maybe like 8 episodes that aired on Fox.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it did not go past the first season. It was not renewed, and then on top of that, one the main character actually died in a motorcycle accident. So I mean, there was going to be
Sucks.
no way to come back from that. But
Damn.
that was along the lines of, during that whole time when you had Charmed, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, X Files. When we're talking about these like '90s occult shows that were kind of fun. So
Hmm.
I mean, that's a whole stream in and of itself. But you would have to like invest yourself into World of Darkness because there's so many places to go with it. So it's not just vampires. You had
It would
secret.
have to be a shows we enjoy
Yeah, you can do
type of
that too.
deal.
You can do that too. But yeah, so yeah, that Blood Hunt game, I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully, it plays a little better than Vampire or Vampire, however you want to pronounce it.
Yeah.
I liked that game, but mechanics wise, I expect a little more. But you know what?
Hmm.
The game in and of itself is not a bad game. It's a good place to start for vampire games.
Right.
Um, they're just not
It's a lot
popular.
better than Dark.
Plus, you know what? Speaking of vampire games, gosh, I'm thinking of what am I thinking of? Okay, it's a PlayStation only. Darn it. I'll have to come back to it in a second.
Well, we'll have to shove it. So, just to start wrapping things up anyways, because yeah, we can, I guess we can start wrapping it up.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I'd like to thank everybody for being here. Those that are the few of you, and Melissa Harris taking up a majority of the chat logs. I'd like to thank Eloise for attempting to be here, even though she said earlier she was not gonna participate. Brian, next time you better be here. You ain't got no excuse this time. I done shared you the link, and I'll show you the link of what we'll be dipping into, either Gigant or Inuyashiki. So prepare for that.
So are you choosing either Gigant or Inuyashiki?
Yeah, it's a toss up. Like we're only gonna do one of them. We can do both, but one was gonna come first.
All right.
Let's just say that one of those two is coming first. And no, I don't mean it in the way that you're thinking.
Oh, I'm sure you're not. I'm sure. I'm really sure.
Well, I'm
Would
surprised.
you?
As far as Gantz didn't come up as a third option.
I mean, that's optional, but I just want to talk about his. Like, everybody knows Gantz.
Gantz, yeah, everybody knows Gantz.
That's what I'm saying. Everybody knows Gantz. Okay, I want to talk about his other stuff.
Inuyashiki, that's not a bad choice for episode 2.
Yep. So I'll do the coin toss on which one we're gonna check out. Definitely we'll be linking you guys to the manga so that we can all read. Dominic, are you willing to join us again for another time?
Yes, and I'll be bringing manga and theory and practice back with me.
Cool. Definitely. Yeah, because well, the other two are kind of like out of commission, wouldn't mind rotating people in and having a, or at least a guest speaker, to say the least. By the way, I'd like to thank Dominic for joining us today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Of course, anytime, brother. I'd like to thank the Schooner Tuna.
Hey, this is Schooner Tuna coming at you live from a secret government facility buried deep underground. If you enjoyed our little soiree into Claymore, which I highly recommend to anybody, like, share, subscribe, and leave a little bit in the comments section. If you have any ideas of a manga you'd like us to cover, or any piece of media you'd like us to cover, let us know, and we will check it out. But until then, this is Schooner Tuna signing out. Bloop, 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 bloop.
Boop, boop. The Trooper FN2525.
Alright, everyone, it was super fantastic having this analysis of Claymore. Go ahead and like and subscribe. Go ahead and turn on the bell. As always, there's something going on with YouTube. If you want to get the notifications and make sure you're here on time, go ahead and hit the bell. We'd like to see more of you. Also, leave comments in the comment section of what mangas you want to go ahead and study, and then we can go from there with recommendations. So this is Trooper FN2525 signing out.
Thank you, everybody, and don't forget to always check back with me or any one of us through MeWe, through Twitter, through Minds. For me specifically, Minds. Definitely check us out. Keep us informed of anything that you want to talk about. Give us any ideas or any topics that we haven't covered yet. We are still mulling over what we're going to be doing in the future. I have nothing for this Thursday yet. It will come to mind. We'll see, or at least one of you guys will speak up. But anyways, with that being said, you are the UN Spacey. Welcome to the Wolf Fleet. Okay, this is going to be a thing. But you want to know what also is going to be a thing?
Are you crazy? Are you crazy? Okay, Cole, you don't knock on people's door like that.